Good evening, good evening, good evening, Thorough Black Talk family. Glad you are here this Thursday, rocking out with us on the Brooklyn Bridge. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody it's about to go down. Tonight, we're going to discuss the recent hearing for reparations in the state of New York that took place in Newberg, New York, with our team, Brother Divine from the U.S. Freedmen's Project, and Sister Brooke will also be joining us. We also got to talk about what's happening in South Africa. It's going down. They talking delineation in South Africa. We got some historical facts that we want to drop on you as well. And also the recent Supreme Court decision on the Voting Rights Act. Let's get into it. Welcome to Thorough Black Talk Worldview. Let me give some shout outs real quick while the team ready. B1, I am a mirror. B1 family, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Sister Joyce, Brother Monty, Suffolk County in the building. What's good? What's good? What's good? Y'all get ready for Tad Talks. Brother Tad will be rocking out with us soon. Get ready for Tad Talks. It's about to go down. And don't forget the OG Wisdom podcast that comes on every Sunday at 2 p.m. Queen, what's good? What's good? What's good? Freedmen in the building. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Boy, some crazy things went on at that hearing. I can't wait for Sister Brooke and Brother Devon to break it down, because it was some crazy stuff that went down at that meeting. So salute to you. Oh yeah, Black Rose. Black immigrants don't know how to fight because they have never fought for anything. They are fleers. Well, I'll tell you one thing. They are not of their ancestors. Some of their ancestors were fighters. But after that, it went downhill. They ain't doing a goddamn thing since then. And it's a disgrace. You know, could you imagine if we was all fighting on our own soil, getting tangibles on our own soil? They don't get it. They rather align themselves with white supremacy. And we're going to deal with that tonight as well. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The team is getting ready behind the scenes. What's good, Mr. Junebug? 121. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Glad you rocking out on the Brooklyn Bridge with us tonight. Sister Aruba 927. BK. Dougie Diamond TV Mars on the check-in. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Our sister from another mister, Farnessa, up on the bridge. What's happening? What's happening? Alabama on the check-in. What's good? What's good? What's good? Yes, indeed. Yes, and yes, indeed. We're going to get into it. But, you know, before we start our program, I want to start with some Black history facts. How about that? Can we start with some Black history facts? Here we go, family.
Did you know a black inventor's safety devices are protecting you right now on every subway ride, but he died broke while others got rich from his genius? Meet Granville Woods, the forgotten mastermind behind modern train safety. This brilliant inventor earned over 60 patents and created something revolutionary: induction telegraphy. His system let moving trains talk to stations in real time, preventing deadly crashes that were killing hundreds of people. Woods didn't stop there. He invented automatic air brakes and the third rail electrical system that powers subways worldwide today. His innovations saved thousands of lives and made modern mass transit possible. But here's the tragic part. Thomas Edison saw Woods' success and wanted it for himself. Edison launched a vicious legal war, filing lawsuit after lawsuit to challenge Woods' patents. Edison knew Woods couldn't afford endless court battles, so he kept suing until Woods was forced to sell his life-changing inventions for almost nothing. While Edison's companies made millions from Woods' genius, the real inventor died in poverty. Today, every time you ride a subway safely, you're using Granville Woods' forgotten innovations.
200 black people were hunted like animals, and the governor called it a misunderstanding. In 1910 in Slocum, Texas, a white mob spent an entire weekend hunting black residents through the woods and fields. Men, women, children. Estimates put the death toll at over 200 people. The Texas governor did not send help. He covered it up. Local officials called it a minor disturbance. No trials, no convictions, no federal investigation. The survivors fled and never came back. The town just moved on like it never happened. This was not a riot. This was a coordinated massacre, and they buried it for over a century. Follow for more history they hoped you would never find. You're welcome.
Did you know the machine that keeps our streets clean was invented by a black man who died broke while others got rich from his idea? In 1896, Charles Brooks created something amazing. He built the first motorized street sweeper truck with spinning brushes and automatic collection systems. His invention was 10 times faster than workers cleaning streets by hand. Brooks designed everything perfectly. His patent showed detailed drawings of hydraulic lifting systems and rotating brush mechanisms. This technology solved huge sanitation problems in growing cities across America. But here's the heartbreaking part. City governments refused to buy his street sweepers. They couldn't accept that a black man had invented the technology to clean their streets. Despite having the perfect solution to their problems, racism blinded them to genius. Eventually, white-owned companies stole Brooks's design and made millions of dollars. Every modern street sweeper uses the foundation he created in 1896. Charles Brooks revolutionized urban sanitation and built the system that keeps our cities clean today. Yet he died in poverty while others profited from his brilliant mind.
Just some quick Black history facts that you should know. Please follow Thorough Black Talk Worldview right here on YouTube for the more historical Black facts that we find very informative and good for the people to know. So definitely check that out. Follow us on all social media platforms, because sometimes what we post on YouTube, we don't post on other social media platforms. There are a whole bunch of information, I should say, on our other platforms. So while the team gets ready, Brother Black, are you ready? Give me the thumbs up, brother. Welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge by way of the BX. Brother Black, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Good evening, Sister Keisha. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
All right. This is Brother Black on the check-in on Thorough Black Talk. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah, we about to get it. Brother Tad is trying to work out some kinks. My internet is kind of choppy today, too, for some reason. So
is it raining up there?
It was yesterday, all day yesterday.
Yeah, but pretty much here, too. Yeah.
Not today, but it's been doing that all day, so I don't know what they're doing with the system, but we're going to work it out. We're going to work it out.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't worry about it. We're going to work it out. Shout out to Brother Ray Ray in the BK Mackey History Club. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Ray L, what's good? What's good? How sweet it is. Rocking out on the BK Bridge. What's good? What's good? Lillian, what's good? What's good? Glad you rocking out with us on the BK Bridge. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. We try to give you some tangible information on the Brooklyn Bridge, that you can confirm some of the things that we're talking about, because we don't just like to throw things out there without a backup. So anyway, in recent news, Brother Black, before I get into that, you got any tangibles for us this Thursday, or are you ready to let me rock out?
Just real quick, I'm not going to take too long. I got some information. What's today? Thursday. On Tuesday, I put it on my blog yesterday, saying that the EBS is about to happen tomorrow. Now, I don't do dates, so don't nobody come back here and tell me, oh, you said it's going to happen on. I don't do dates, so I'm just telling you what the intelligence says. I put it on my blog.
You go further. What is that? What is that?
EBS is the emergency broadcasting system. Okay. When they shut down all the regular networks, the internet, and so on. And so you know when your TV has this is a test of the emergency broadcasting system, and then it gives that like 15, 30-second beat noise. Then it comes back. If this had been an emergency, you would have been alerted to consult your blah 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 on and on. So what the EBS is in this case is the emergency broadcasting system. The alleged buzzword to know that it's about to be on and popping is that the president, your president, our president, Trump, is supposed to say the storm is upon us, meaning that all the people who are supposed to be arrested are going to be arrested, or they've already been arrested and executed, but they're going to start showing this stuff retroactively or currently, however it goes, and so on and so forth. So if y'all want to see that, that's at my blog. I'm sure Sister Keisha is going to post it before the end of the show. So that was all I wanted to say. Check it out and then see for yourself what you think about it and go from there. That's all I wanted to say, really.
Thank you, brother. Let's see if we can get the OG Wisdom Podcast co-founder, Brother Tad, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. You okay, Tad, back there? He's still trying to work it out. I don't know what they doing with our service.
And he's on the roof telling them to come up and, get down. You already know.
Here he go. Here he go already. Already starting trouble.
I had to throw that in because Sister Farnessa don't call me Brother Anunnaki no more. I'm getting lonely over here.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Shout out to Sister Farnessa if she's on here, especially.
She
and
is.
Sister Aruba as well. And Sister Aruba.
Yeah, they're on the bridge. They're on the bridge. So, in recent news, in the state of Texas, Houston, Texas, a young boy, black boy, goes into a store, which seems to be a gas station type stop establishment, but it happens to be near a school. And a lot of children from the school go there after school, to get snacks or whatever. So this young black boy, he goes in and to use the bathroom. Now, the store worker tells him he can't use the bathroom and to go out back to do a number 2. So the young child goes back there, handling his business, which is a disgrace. At the same time, this store clerk records it, posts it, and then show it to other children as they come into the store, calling this boy all kind of animals and the like. So some activists in Houston, Texas, pulled up to shut it down out there. You ready, Brother Tad? Welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. Our co-founder of Thorough Black Talk, Brother Tad. What's happening?
Peace, family. Peace, Brother Black. I heard you talking smack in the background, but it's all good. Still my brother. I still love you, even though you're wrong.
Where my hand signal at, man?
Oh man, yes, sis, I was having a little technical difficulties with the internet connection, but shout out to everybody in the chat. Definitely appreciate everybody for dropping in, rocking out with us. I can't hear you, sis. Your mic is muted.
I've been having problems too, Brother Tad, all day, mind you, with this. Sister Brooke, you ready?
Hey, Black, is Mercury in retrograde? What's going on?
I heard it is. Let me check. I heard somebody else say that today. I didn't check, though. I'm going to check right now.
They said that interrupts communications. I'm not that conscious no more.
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know when Mercury rising and Earth is spinning and all that.
You ain't got your copper rings and copper bracelets?
Nah, I'm going to put the diamonds back on.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Let's get our Sister Brooke up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Sister Brooke, what's happening?
Good evening, everybody. Hello, Brother Tad. So happy that you could join us today. We missed you. Hey, Black. And hey, my big sis Keisha, you know what I'm saying? It's always a pleasure. We be in contact all the time. So I'll be like, hey, from earlier today.
Look, y'all was cooking last week. I had to jump on. I was traveling.
I
said, hold up, I gotta get in on this. Hold up.
And you was only here for a couple of minutes, but them couple of minutes was powerful, Tad. Like you came in here, you dropped bombs and bounced.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Only like the OG could do. Let me tell you.
That's right.
I had a super dope weekend. Shout out to Charlemagne the God. Shout out to Nori, Heineken. So many people and so many. It was lit, you know. And what I do like, it's the Black Effects podcast, and it's just keeping us abreast on the direction that the podcast is going in. You know, Sister Keisha, if you can remember, a couple of years back when I first went, I kept telling people like, yo, this is the new industry and we have to get in on it. We have to let our voices be heard. And that's what's so dope about what we're doing over here at Thorough Black Talk, because now people are being abreast, not just to the current events that is affecting Black Americans, but also the historical position and relevance of what it is, where everybody comes in capping and caping, acting like they really know our story when they don't. You know, that broad definition of what Blackness is in America, we starting to define that. And that's all delineate mean. It's just funny when people hear that word and they get turned off. Remember, we was at the Caribbean jump off, and I asked anybody who knows what delineate means. And they just started making up stuff, you know, not being honest. So yeah. I'm just grateful for the opportunity that we have to share with our FBA family out there. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't no knock on the Caribbean people by no means, only those who tethering. Because you do got some that fall in line, tell the truth. But like, nah, I know what it is. I'm from where I'm from and they're from where they're from. In fact, real quick, and I'm gonna pass the mic, today at work, a Haitian sister was talking to somebody on the phone and she asked them, and I'm ear hustling. She said, why you always got something bad to say about Black Americans? Now, mind you, she wasn't talking to me. She wasn't saying it loud for me to hear her. I just pay attention to my surroundings. And I thought that was dope, that she was G-checking whoever she was talking to, because they must have been saying something derogatory. And those are the Caribbeans and the continental Africans that I like, those who are going to be honest about the conversations that's being held in their home, about their disdain and dislike for us. You know what I mean? Because we can't get no resolution. We can't get no peace if we're not going to speak truth. You know what I mean? And with that, I'm off my soapbox.
Facts. And just so the audience knows, next week we'll begin going live on Instagram as well. So we're adding that platform. So we'll be on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and now IG as well. So let's continue this conversation because, like I said, this young boy goes into this store to use the restroom, and the store clerk tells him that he can't use it, that he got to go out in the back on the ground like an animal. And so the young boy got to go, so he goes back there, and the store clerk records it and then shows it to the other children that come into the store. On top of that, calling him names. So now when the kid goes back to school, he's being bullied and teased for doing number 2 behind the store. Come to find out, the bathrooms in the place are brand new. But this is how immigrants treat Black Americans. But I don't see organizations like December 12th having conversations about this. I don't see CMOTAP having conversations about it. I don't see Rainbow Push and the rest of them have conversations about this. So let's play these video clips, and then we'll come right back and we'll discuss. Hold on, family. Where's Grandma at? Come on, Grandma.
Hey, where's Fiona? Sir? Where's the owner? I don't want no damn card. Where's the owner? Sir? Yeah, I don't want no business card. I want the owner. How you doing, brother? You shouldn't spend one goddamn dollar in this store.
Y'all shouldn't spend
y'all
nothing.
shouldn't spend not a goddamn dollar in this store. What this store did,
activities going
exploiting a young black child, embarrassing a young black child, and told a black child that they could not use the restroom to go and do in the back. And then these no good bastards recorded that child and then took the video and showed it to all of the kids leaving the school, our babies leaving school, and they showing them a video when their classmates poo-pooing, embarrassing this young brother and treating him like he's less than a human. I want the owner. What is this?
Go get your money back.
I don't need no lawyer's
No, get your money back.
I don't want no.
Get your refund. Get your money back.
Where's the owner? Where is the owner? What are we talking about?
Get your money back.
Are you the owner? Where's the owner? Because we ain't gonna make no more goddamn money today. Where's the owner?
And give him his refund too.
Where's the owner?
Kind of Epstein stuff y'all got going on.
Do you realize that video is pornographic? That video is sexual in nature? That is a crime? He committed a crime. I want the owner. We ain't making no more money today.
None. We're gonna shut this whole thing down. And give him his money back.
None of y'all spend no money in here.
Don't spend no money in here.
Don't spend another damn dime in this store.
Refund his tab for this Arizona. Go get your refund, brother.
Yeah, get your refund.
You ain't paying. Give his money back.
I'll buy you one somewhere else. Get your refund.
Refund.
I'll buy you one somewhere else. The hell with that drink.
You ain't buying nothing from this old Epstein Island gas station they got going on.
Okay, you don't work here. All right, appreciate you, my brother. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Did you call
ain't
me?
Nobody buying nothing.
And listen, that lawyer, he can bring his rusty, ragged ass up here too.
We don't
care about that.
Because he can catch
we
this
want to talk
too.
to the owner because he can't stop a damn thing what we doing today.
Nothing.
Where is he at? Y'all did that to a child.
Yes.
Y'all did this to a child. Y'all did that to a child. Y'all did that to a child.
Ain't no money being made.
Where's the owner at, man?
Where you at? Huh? Where you at?
You better call him again. Tell him he ain't making no money. Call him again.
We shutting this whole thing down.
That's wrong what he did to that baby.
That's some freaking stuff, man. That's some Epstein freaking foolishness they got going on around here. Don't nobody spend no money in here.
How you doing, my brother? How you feel, man? Good, man. Man, did you hear what these devils did?
I use the restroom every day.
And they wouldn't let that baby use the restroom, man.
I use the restroom every day. It's him.
It's him. Who is the boss man?
He'll be here.
Who is the boss man?
He'll be here. He normally be over here on the cutting though.
Is that right? I need to get him.
Yeah.
Now we gonna play the firework.
Brand new bathrooms in there. Told him to go behind the building, take a poop. Then took a video and recorded that child. And then when the kids got out of school, the man was behind the counter showing the video to the other students and saying, look at his butt, look at his wee-wee, look at his behind, making fun of the child's organs. Don't you spend one goddamn penny in this no-good devil store. You don't do our babies like that. And if we give that man a penny, what we're saying to him, it's okay to do our kids like that. We got to send these people a message today. So the owner allegedly is on the way. Don't let him make a penny till he get here. We're demanding the immediate termination of that employee. He can't work in our neighborhood no more.
Oh, don't spend no money in there.
Don't spend a penny with this snake.
Okay.
They wouldn't dare do this to somebody else's community.
Oh no.
And then they posted his picture on the right here on the doors, like a criminal.
Then they took his picture and put his picture on the door
of him using the restroom.
Didn't child's picture on the door when the bathrooms are brand new.
This is troubling. And I'm glad that them people shut that stuff down. And not only that, ICE need to be called and they need to be deported immediately. Immediately. These Pakistani, East Indian mother effers that work in this store, this is what they do in their country. They poop in the street. They trying to lower us to their level. Because in recent years, you know, we've been outing them for this type of behavior. Them, the Africans, all pooping outside. So they trying to throw it back. But we ain't having it. So let's go to the panel. Brother Tad, your thoughts on this tragedy?
I'm disappointed but not surprised. Where's the dudes that hang out at the gas station? Like, we be having smoke for one another, but these are the perfect opportunities for us to get active. Damn picket signs and protests. Somebody's supposed to get their ass kicked. Somebody's supposed to get their head cracked. You know, the time for talking is over, especially when it comes down to our children. Examples got to be set. And I realized, living in the hood all my life, right? My children didn't have problems in the Chinese restaurant or the corner stores because they know who the parents are. They know the daddy coming with the smoke. So my children was treated with the utmost respect. But it should be like that for all our children. And unfortunately, not enough people are setting examples. They knew that it was a chance that it was going to be a quote unquote boycott. They said, you ain't going to make no money today. Let's see if they open tomorrow or next week. One thing I realize is people only respect violence. Now, I'm a nonviolent person, but it's funny how a punch in the mouth could really knock some sense into some people. And that's what we got to do. We got to get back to really setting examples. Because I promise you, as sure as the sky is blue, if that was another community, that little boy would have been allowed to use the bathroom. But this is why FBA have to stand on what we stand on, because everybody think they could just handle us any kind of way. And the reason why people stopped playing with us at one point, because we really got busy. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was Bumpy Johnson, whoever. They got busy. So the mafia respected them. The mob respected them. Said, because these black folks, you don't want to turn them up. Because when they get turned up, they get turned up. But it's like, it's a whole new generation of suckers and cowards. And I appreciate everybody who pulled up. But now, where's the military? Where's the people that's really about that action? All these young boys that got switches and ready to clap something up, ready to point them in the right direction. You know, I'm a Second Amendment advocate. I'm not anti-gun. You just need to know who to point them at. And I yield with that.
Crazy. Sister Brooke, your thoughts on what happened to this child?
I'm hot as fish grease. I didn't even realize I had seen pieces of, you know, sometimes when it comes to kids, it's like it's hard for me to watch the entire thing, but I caught the gist of what had happened and then I didn't watch the rest. But to know that they were sitting there pointing out his private parts and laughing about it, talking about look at his behind and look at his little, you know, I'm like, number one, you know, I want them brought up on pedophilia charges or you know, pedo charges. Because like he said, because I was wondering where he was going when he originally said that. But now, you know, as the video progressed, it made sense. Yes, they need to be brought up on charges. And that should, after you are convicted of such charges, that should be immediate removal from the country. Immediate removal. And what big bro OG, triple OG Tad said about the military is absolutely right. It shouldn't, because he said, oh, don't spend no money till the guy get here. No. You got to go. period. You know, around the time in the nail shop, people tried to come to me and be like, oh, you know, if they give out incentive. No. Once you do something like that, you got to go pack your shit and get the fuck about the community. There's no negotiation. You treated a child like that, go. Sell the business. At this point, I don't give a hell who you sell it to. Get gone now. You can't come back. And every time they try to open that place up, somebody needs to be there to remind people of what they did to that child. So because you know we sometimes we are such, and I'm gonna err on the side of giving our people grace. We are such a forgiving people that we forgive and we forget. And that is why you need to have somebody out in front of this business constantly reminding people, do not forget what they did to this child. Because at the end of the day, and this is what I knew at the nail shop. You don't need no political support. You don't need your community board support. All you need to do is financially, and this is why they took me off the news. All you need to do is financially castrate that business. Cut their money off by the balls. Okay? And once you do that, they have no fiscal choice but to shut down. You can't keep a business open if you can't pay the bills. And as long as nobody's spending money, they can't stay open. That's how you force them to sell. That's why the nail shop is closed to this day. Because I made sure the community never forgot. And even the tools and fuels that they got. Oh, you got one little lady here spending $20. That don't pay Con Ed. You got one sellout over here paying $20. That's not enough. That's $700,000 that they was making in a 6-month period, or 3 months. I think it was a 3-month period. $700,000 that they was making in a 3-month period evaporated. I cut their financial balls off. And that's what they need to do.
Let me get the U.S. Freedmen Project president, Brother Devon, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening, brother?
What's good, family? Sister Brooke, Brother Tad,
hey,
Brother Black, Sister Keish, what's going on this evening?
I know you was listening behind the scenes.
I sure was.
So what happened with this young brother?
Well, two things I want to. Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say two things. One, I want to slightly push back on my OG brother Tad on what he said earlier, and I'll get right to the video. He said, delineation is defining Black, right? And I just want to push back a little bit on that. What delineation did was have us define ourselves, right? And what we found out within the definitions is that nobody else was calling themselves or identifying as Black but us. And so that's what delineation, in my opinion, revealed, right? Because we all just thought, based on how we were socialized, that everybody was just Black. And when they got here, they were adopting our Black identity, our Black politics, our Black culture. But when we started delineating and everybody had to stand on their own, we started going around to these different countries, to these different communities, and finding out, wait, hold on. There's a long history of I'm not Black, I'm this. I'm not Black, I'm that. And on the continent, there's no tribe called Black. There's Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Zulu, right? And so I think, so that's just a small nuance I wanted to point out, that we didn't have to redefine it or anything like that. It was, we are the definition of Black. And we found out that nobody else was that definition and told us so all the while we was listening, because that is the origins of the I Know Black Dominicans, right? The Dominicans was telling the truth this whole time. I know Black. And because of how we were socialized we were trying to convince them that they was black like us, because most of them have more melanin than a lot of us, right? And so that is kind of what we're dealing with now, what delineation is sorting out, right? And the next thing I want to say is this. You guys touched on everything. I 100% agree with that. But here's one of the things that I've seen growing up in the hood that I always had a problem with, that I always had to check Ak on, and it's something that you guys didn't touch on yet with this situation. So I'm glad I could give something new in my submission. There has always been those Indian, East Indian, Middle Eastern, wherever they come from, when they are behind the counter and they get quote unquote comfortable in our hood, there's always that one or two or three that gets way too comfortable with our women and with our children. And so when you got this dude showing these type of images and videos to other children, that always raises a red flag to me, because I know, like y'all know, that whenever there's an adult that is a little bit too friendly with children, that's the potential for something else to happen. And so when you got these people that have no allegiance to our community, while they have that type of activity running rampant in their communities, it's only a matter of time before they try to bring it to our community through our soft targets. And a lot of times that first barrier of entry is children. And because a lot of these children are walking home from school by themselves and going into the store, being sent to the store by their parents by themselves, thinking that these people are pillars of the community and are going to look out for them, you know, that's one of the things that we also got to change up and switch up just a little bit, becoming a little less trusting of these individuals that are in the community, but not of our community.
No doubt. Now, I agree with you, Brother Divine. When I was talking about black, I was talking about the blanket statement of blackness, including everybody back then until we started delineating. But I definitely agree with you, because growing up in the hood, and you hit 100 points, and it was all on point. I've had to tell people, stop telling them Arabs they can say nigga. He's like, you know, because dudes are going to the store like, nah, say what's up, my nigga. And I tell them, yo, don't say that. And I tell them, yo, stop teaching them that, because you're going to get them effed up. You're going to say it to the wrong person. And in fact, when I was working on Staten Island, there was an Arab dude who used to try to talk to the women every time they come in. Hey, beautiful. And one day I told him, yo, where your women at? Where your sister at? Where your daughters at? Let me flirt with them. I said, because every time a black woman come in here, y'all always got something to say. I said, but y'all keep y'all women hidden. I said, y'all going to stop this shit. But see, I covered. Right, because I'm not afraid of none of these people. None of them move me, because I'm from the hood. You know, where danger was every day. It was dangerous just to go to school and go to the store. So I don't know where this cowardice come from, that we let outsiders come into our community and violate our children, violate our women. Because I think, you know, we should be past talking with everyone. We got all the smoke. I seen somebody put in the chat, I think it was Edolo, shout out to you, said that was in Mob Ties area, you know, down in Houston. That's where the Mob Ties, you know, what's my man, Jay Prince and them. That's supposed to be their community. But notice how there's always smoke for rappers in that community. Everybody go down there, get hurt. In fact, there was just a rapper from, I think, Detroit or something, who just had to put that thing on them because they tried to jump him down there. They tried to jump him, and he was prepared, and he did what he was supposed to do. But that was the same place where I believe Young Takeoff was deleted from the Migos, you know? So my thing is, and this is what I was saying earlier, we got all this smoke for one another, but when it's really time to show up, where we at? If we're not going to get active for the children, we shouldn't be getting active about shit. I don't care if somebody talk about my dead mama. If we're not getting active for the children, we have no reason to pull anything out. Because that's how they test us. If we're not going to protect our young, you see animals do it in the wild. You see a gazelle try to fight a lion to protect her young. knowing she ain't got no wins. What are we doing? And that's why everybody come here and try to make us the butt of the jokes or the laughing stock. And I'm an old head. You see the grays. I'm from where, you know, aggression get met with aggression. You violate one of our children, the whole community is coming at you. Pitchforks and torches. Where's that? And this is why everybody playing with us. This is why people from other communities could cosplay us, but then just kick us off to the side. And I know us on the panel and those in the chat, I know we about that life. That's why we all here. But how do we get everybody else to roll and form up? Because I'm not in Houston. Yeah. And right. I'm done with the showing up in the middle of the cold. And me and Sister Keisha, when a young girl was getting molested, you know, we asking the church to come stand with us. Nobody come stand with us. It's freezing cold outside, but we outside agitating, bringing attention to it. Our young brother Ashe and I think Brother Ray was there. You know, get ready to go to blows with the church folks. I'm like, oh, they're about to beat people in the house of the Lord. You know, but we need that type of commitment to protect our young people. And I don't see it no more. And, you know, I'm from old school where we show you better than we tell you. And with that, I pass the mic.
And shout out to Brother Ray too. Him and Ashe was definitely ready to throw hands. Brother Ray went to every trial date to make sure that bastard went to prison.
Hold up, I see Brother Ray in the gym. Do some big plays. You don't want to get punched by him.
For real. He's ready to knuckle up. But that's what it has to be. You know, even with the nail salon, when we was out there, when we came out there, we had threatened some of them chicks. If you go in that nail salon, I'm effing you up. That's all I'm telling you. We fight. So you can go if you want to, but when you come out, I'm gonna break your jaw. That's the result. That's the result. You see what I'm saying? But these tethers, they was ready to go in there and do business with the shrimp fried rice crew after they pummeled a black grandmother. We also checked on Miss Thelma. Nobody checked on that lady. You see what I'm saying? We just moved different. And like Brooke said, this was a neighborhood. She had to go over there to shut it down. Because none of you tethers was doing nothing. And you still ain't about that life. None of y'all. You still ain't about that life. So you could come on panels and be disrespectful to Black Americans. You know, even when we went to that Pan-African BS on Utica Avenue, we was right there in the heart of it, talking all that talk. But when you in our face, you ain't got nothing to say, coward. You ain't make no moves. Because y'all ain't built like that.
At all.
So, some people may not like Clarence Thomas. But when he said this, he was right in his act. When he said this, he was right in his act. Hold on.
I think if we don't stand up and take ownership of our country and take responsible for it, we are slowly letting others control how we think and what we think. I think the beauty of going to school is that you learn how to think for yourselves. You develop the discipline to think things through. If you think it's losing confidence, then you get up and you participate. You don't sit on the sidelines. You think that the state is being run and inconsistent with how you feel, then you get up and you participate. You prepare yourself. If you think that the medical profession is not right, well, you become a doctor or be a medical person and you deal with that. I think we need to take ownership of our country. It's our country. It is not on automatic pilot. People know more about how to program their cell phone than they know about their participating in their government. They read more. I don't know who reads all these notices when you have to update your stuff, but they probably do. I mean, the Constitution is that thing. You can sit down over a cup of coffee and read the entire thing. How many people have read it? How many people know why those provisions are there? I mean, I think each of us, this again, try to make the point, is government by consent. That means we take ownership. It's our consent. And it's our country. And the only way, I was asking a student at lunch today, and I'll repeat it. If you let someone use your car and you never check on it, whether they changed the oil, they had it serviced, you just let them take it to East Texas and use it. And you get it back. What condition do you think it would be in? It wouldn't look that, and that's what we're doing to our country. And if you want to think of people, how much they protect their cell phones. Why don't we protect our country that way? It's ours. And if you want it to have trust, if correct what you think is wrong, then get up and do it. Learn more about it. I was at a group of high school students visited me some years ago, probably, 30 years ago. It's hard to say that. I'm hanging around a long time. But 30 years ago, and the teacher in front of the students said, how many members of the court are there? Well, she had a brochure in her hand that had 9 members. I mean, well, how hard is it to count to 9? So I think it's our country. We should take ownership of it, learn more about it, participate. If you don't like the way it runs, you run. I think
No lies told here. You know, one thing about Maddox and Sister Pat and Ray Ray's in the chat, he always made sure we had a pocket-sized Constitution to carry with us everywhere that we went. And I still keep it in my backpack. It's that easy to read. It's that easy to read, but you should also know the Constitution of the state you're living in.
Sis.
Because that's what affects you the most.
Let me ask you though, sis. What made you use that clip? And put a little commentary to that. What made you use Clarence Thomas clip?
It came across my timeline and it just resonated with me with what's going on right now in this country. That's what made me play the clip.
I say that because the old me would have probably just saw it and be like, man, skip that, skip that, skip that.
Right.
Maturity has granted me patience to listen to people I may have not agreed with at one point in my life. And maybe because I was programmed that, oh, he'll sell out, hate him, da-da-da. Whether we agree or not, it does make sense. Because I keep hearing people say damn America and later for America and burn Babylon, right? So, but my family been here for generations. Where am I supposed to go? But the same people that are saying burn Babylon and damn America are voluntarily coming here. So are you coming here to disrupt or try to live a better life for yourself? Because I've been to some of these other places and it's a nice place to visit, but I don't want to live there. You know what I mean? So it's the contradiction of not, as he said, think for yourself. If you got a problem, maybe it's your assignment to correct that problem. Harriet Tubman saw a problem. He made it her assignment. Malcolm saw a problem. He made it his assignment. Dr. King saw a problem. He made it his assignment. What I see nowadays is a bunch of whiners and complainers and suckers blaming everybody else for some shit they could fix their goddamn self. We all have the power. We are divine by design. I wish people would stop waiting for somebody else to come do what you can do yourself. But you have to have the testicular fortitude to stand up and man up and say, I'm not taking this no more. That's why even what was done to that young man, I'm not just talking shit on this panel. Anybody who know me know sometimes I got a hand problem. And if I felt you violated a child, I'm not going to argue with you. Because people only respect violence. Yeah, they'll listen to your words. They only act right if they feel that there's a threat. But I don't make threats. I make promises and follow through. And that's what has to happen. We have to show people who we really are. Stop playing with us. Stop playing in our face. Like Clarence Thomas said, this is our country. Where are we going? Where are we going? People want us to destiny swap. They want us to go over there, build their shit up while they come over here and get paid off of what we've already built. We're not falling for the Scooby-Doo. That's that Bugs Bunny shit. One for me, one for you. You know what I'm saying? 1, 2 for me, 2 for you. We not doing that. We are not doing that. So that's why I asked you why, because in my former mindset, as a former Pan-African, you know, just the sight of Clarence Thomas would make me dismiss it. But he spoke pure facts. Everything, I couldn't disagree with nothing he said. But again, that's maturity. If you still thinking like you did 10 years ago, you got some growth to do. You really got some.
Can I add to that, Sister Keisha?
Go ahead, brother.
Man, shout out to Sister Kimberly in the chat. I appreciate that. That's honest. That's a high compliment. I appreciate that. And I wanted to add, because as soon as he asked you the question, what made you play it? Like, it's just, how do you say, great minds think alike. I was already on that because I was at an event last night that I found out about last minute. Is with the Core Commission. They're doing like the reparations remedies, and they're doing a racial justice committee at the city level. And so what they did was they broke down the racial justice committee report by section, and they had the different sections at the tables. And so you had to pick a particular topic out of that section, and then they gave you a form to kind of give them feedback to see how they could hone this report into coming up with some better solutions. And I'm just saying that to give context. That's not really that important. And we could talk more about that if y'all had any questions on that. But the bottom line is I was at a table and it was talking about, it was like the mayoral agencies that this commission would address. And so I sat at the table because I wanted to talk about the mayor's office that has an OMB, and then there was a office of cultural affairs. But there was a Jamaican brother sitting at the table, and I was talking to the head of that committee, that particular committee at the table, and I found out later on. So one of the sisters was like, "Hey, did he tell you that he's a lawyer?" And I'm like, "No." And this is after I had already brought up the topic of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. So he's dancing all around it. He's giving me all this type of this pushback. And then the sister, I guess she just was, she eventually, at the end of the event, I found out she was on our side. So maybe that's why she put the bug in my ear. But she's like, did he tell you he a lawyer? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yo, bro, what are we doing? What are you talking about? Kind of find out he not Foundation Black America. And this is what I'm talking about. People all throughout this space that have their agendas. And it's going to make sense as we get to the end. But we going back and forth. He's fighting me on the constitutionality of this racial justice committee. I found out he's a lawyer, and then I'm like, okay, so all the other fluff we talking about, that's null and void. Everything that I said, you already know can't be done because of the 14th Amendment. So why was you dancing with me? Like, why are we wasting time on how we going to get to the solutions if you already know everything you saying is in direct opposition to the 14th Amendment? We can't move past that, even if you wanted to. These are the rules by which our advocacy is bound, unless that's changed. I was like, but be perfectly honest, that equal protection of the 14th Amendment that protects us from white-only policies and stops black-only policies is actually just and correct. I said, because racial justice is not owed to everybody that y'all classify as black in this country. It's only owed to the people that your entire report is built on, but y'all don't want to compensate and address directly. And so the Jamaican guy at the table at that time, he started talking. He's like, well, how do you propose we do this? So I was like, that's a great question. That's what our organization specializes in. We're talking about status-based. We have a lineage, and that lineage has a status. And I started talking about, the going to the spiel about the bureau and the bank. And so he says, yeah, but that's kind of hard because it's got to go to Supreme Court, and we got a sellout on the court. So I'm like, we got a sellout on the court? Who? So I already know who he means. But I'm like, who? And so he's like, Clarence Thomas, he got our skin, but he's not with us. He's not our kinfolk. So it took everything to keep my face in a welcoming position because I want to say, you Jamaican? Who are you? What are you talking about? And so I said, well, tell me some of his rulings that you believe show he has our skin, but he's not our kinfolk. So he starts babbling. And I'm like, see, I was like, did you know that in the case for affirmative action, that Clarence Thomas got up there and said that remedial justice and reparations based on status, based on a harm group, is still good law? He like, no. I was like, see, this is the problem. I was like, you are not looking at it from a he's not our kinfolk lens. You're looking at it from a standpoint of he's not pushing the same left-wing Democrat policies that you want him to push, that you benefit from. I was like, because unfortunately, I didn't want to be the one to burst your bubble. I was like, but you and I are not kinfolk either. Especially if we're talking about politically. I was like, you got different political priorities. I was like, that's why you're not even interested in what I was talking about when I'm saying getting this thing to be constitutionally sound. You're trying to find a way to get the unconstitutional to be constitutional so that you could benefit off of something that's supposed to only go to me and my ancestors based on what we've done and contributed to the country. I was like, so do you see the problem of trying to just have racial coalitions? So he's like, yeah, but the white man, they have the power to categorize us before we even open our mouth. I said, yeah, that is true. I was like, but if he calls you an N-word, are you an N-word? I was like, see, I don't know about the Jamaican proverb, but let me tell you a foundational Black American proverb. My mother told me it ain't what they call you, is what you answer to. I was like, let me ask you, what do you answer to? I was like, because I believe you answer to Jamaican. Because you came out and said it. See, I answer to Black, always has, and I always will. I think, but even if you have at some times, I think there's many people of your background that have said they're Jamaican, not Black, or I'm not Black, I'm Jamaican. I think, and see, this is the exact issue that I have with this commission. And we went on to talk about that, but I want to frame it in this way. To what Brother Tad said about growth and maturity and what's happening in this movement in real time. For a long time, and you brought him up, and I said this then, I'm going to say it again. In real time, I told you guys, I used to think that Booker T. Washington was a coon. For the same reasons that I looked at Clarence Thomas as a coon. Now, do I always agree with them? Do I always think that we are aligned, even though we both are the same lineage? No. But you know what framed that reference that I had and was using as a measuring stick? Pan-Africanism. Because Pan-Africanism taught us if you're not looking to advocate or push for a global lens, where you use Africa as the starting point and the end, the alpha and the omega, then you are a traitor to the race. And what is a coon if not a traitor to the race? Not understanding that pushing race-based policies makes you a traitor to the lineage. And so now what we're seeing is that we have to have loyalties to our lineage long before we have any loyalties to a race that is actually just a social construct created by the system of white supremacy. And I land there. Thank you for letting me get it all out. I know I was long-winded.
That was the perfect place to land, too. That is the perfect place to land. It's taught to us by white supremacy. And we don't realize in that Pan-African space, it's only a response to white supremacy, which means we're playing their game, which means they make the rules. And we know how they do. You know what I'm saying? When we play by the rules and we start winning, they change the rules all the time, never fails. So, but if you create your own game and master your own dribble, whatever you want to call it, you're always going to win because it's your game. Stop playing the ops game.
Facts. And, everybody's in an uproar with this Voting Rights Act's decision. But we're going to deal with that more next week for sure. Because we're going to dismantle a whole lot of fallacy, that people are talking about. But this past Saturday, there was a reparations hearing in New York, in Newberg, New York. I wasn't able to attend. I had some family things going on. Sidebar. When we were on Straight Black Talk, remember the young man that caught from prison tag?
Yes.
And I ran into him on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
He was down for 30 something years. So anyway, I saw him Saturday and he just hugged me and didn't want to let go.
Oh.
And then he said, we got to get you in the governor's seat. We need you as governor of New York. So I was telling him I have personal issues that I need to resolve first before I can do anything. And so he was like, those of us from these streets, we will finance you. We will back you. Whatever you need, we got you. But we need you in that governor's seat. I say all that to say is that when they bring these people before you, who they coming with? If the black don't know you, if your family don't support you, who the hell are you? Who are you? Because that's your first base. The community you came up in and your family. You see Brother Tad? You know about his family. When you see Brother Tad, you know about those who came up in the streets with him. It's the same over here. I don't listen.
Sister Keisha did her homework on me.
I didn't have a choice, as you know, both sides of my family.
Yes.
So anyway, from those streets. But anyway, I say all that to say, when they bring these people before you, who are they? Whose interests are they representing? If their family can't come out and speak for them, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, mama, daddy, somebody, don't mess with them. Don't rock with them. Kamala Harris' father already told you what he thought about her. But y'all try to vote her in office anyway? How dare you say she ain't worthy? Are y'all crazy? So just be a little bit more vigilant in your approach when it comes to voting. And right now, you know, when you go to bookcalltoactions.com and you send in them emails, make sure you click the last link on the bottom to get your asses out of the Democratic or Republican Party and re-register as an independent, non-party affiliate. Make them fight for you. Make them beg for your vote. And when they come begging, what them tangibles we want? What them checks we said we wanted? What them hate crime bills we said we wanted? What them initiatives that y'all gave all those immigrants? Turn them over. If they can't do it, F out of here. Go ahead, Sister Brooke.
I just wanted to add, when you were talking about these people coming out of nowhere and you don't even know what they fight for, I want people to understand it. And this really isn't for the people in the room, because y'all already know, you know what I'm saying, you know, my hatred towards our mayor. And so, but the mayor this week, you know, King Charles came over here, you know what I'm saying? He brought his narrow behind over here to fake front and act like he gives a care about anybody in Harlem. But you know what Mayor Mondami's main goal in speaking to the king was about? Oh, the diamond that they supposedly stole from India, a place where the mayor has never even lived. He's never been a citizen of India. I thought he was African American. I thought he was Ugandan. You are the mayor of one of the biggest cities in America, and you talking to foreign dignitaries about a diamond that belongs to a whole nother country all the way on the other side of the goddamn globe? You see where his loyalty lies. His loyalty lies within a nation he has never even lived. Not with us. And even the citizens of Harlem were complaining about how they're like, why are you shutting down our whole area, our neighborhood for him? We don't care about him. But now the kids can't go to where they need to go. She can't do what the mom was saying. I can't move the way I need to move in where I live at because he's here. Because you want to front for the king. Because even though you ain't never lived in India, when you was in Uganda, his family or his mama was your queen. Because that's the only reason you were allowed to be a king in Uganda. For you to be able to get the money that you got in Uganda because that white family let you do it. They brought you over there to make sure that the Ugandans didn't make the money that they were supposed to make in their own country. You were put in power by them. You were made a buffer class by his mama. So you will always kiss their feet and not represent us. And I've said this on Twitter. Mandami is a Trojan, he is a Trojan horse. He embodies a Trojan horse. He is going to blow up New York from the inside. That's what he's doing. From the inside.
Facts.
You don't have to.
He had an interview on MSNBC, and you know they super liberal.
Right.
They cooked him on MSNBC. He got fried and toasted.
I got to see that.
I got the clips.
Because I don't watch MSNBC that much, but
no, that's it.
Yeah, please send that to me ASAP. Because they let him off shoot. Let me just say this one more thing about Mandami since we on New York and Mandami. You know that's one of my favorite subjects to hate. Hate, like New York. Where he at? Anyway.
Don't talk about my meeting. Okay.
I'm sorry. I love him though, even though he hate. But that's what I'm saying. I hate right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So let me make this plain for the New Yorkers in the building. Mandami's sitting here talking about he's going to charge the rich for their second homes that are worth more than $5 million or something like that. That is proposed to only bring in $500 million only. His budget is proposed to spend $11.2 billion on illegals. So even if he gets that $500 million, what is $500 million to $11.2 billion? Stop spending $11.2 billion on illegals, and then you can stop running away, because he sat there and he did that pomp and circumstance ad he did where he was standing in front of that guy's $200 million condo, and not knowing that he had a plan in motion to open up another facility for another few thousand, 10,000, I think it's 20,000 jobs. I could be wrong. It could be from anywhere from 2,000 to 20,000. I can't remember. But anyway, more jobs, which is definitely needed in the city, right? Especially as people are losing their vouchers. Okay? Which I agree with, by the way. I'm sorry if you got one. But y'all increasing the price for the rest of us who don't believe in siphoning the money from the government so I could have a place to live. So them vouchers is making the price of rent for everybody else go up. So I'm with the vouchers ending. Okay. But you need to have jobs in place so that the people that don't have, that no longer can rely on the vouchers, can get a better job so that they can pay their rent, their share of the rent, without having to be beholden to the government. But now you're sitting here running this man away, and now the facility, or the extension of the facility that he already has, that he had planned on doing, he like, I ain't doing it. So now we losing jobs, and now he's talking about taking whatever business he had here out of here. So now on top of that, you losing the tax base from the company, and you're going to lose the tax base from the employees, because he's going to move the employees. Wherever you think the employees going to stay here without no job? If they have an opportunity to move with the job, they're going to move with the job. So now you're going to lose the tax base from the employees that also worked for that facility. So he's not giving a complete picture. He is making people think that by taxing the rich, that'll solve all the problems. You know what will solve all the problems? Stop spending $11.2 billion on people who don't pay no taxes whatsoever. And I'll land right there.
How about that part?
How about that part?
Here's the thing too, because you brought up the jobs part, but I got my water bill today.
Oh Lord Jesus.
If I get my water bill, I want to kick somebody in the back of the throat. I get charged. I'm charged more for the service of getting the water than my usage of water.
Woo!
I'm being charged more for the service of getting the water than my usage. Don't listen to this BS these people be throwing at you. The city is maintained on our backs. First of all, we pay more tax than anybody.
That's right.
Anybody in the world.
Yeah, in the world.
In the country, the world. Then you got the immigrant class who come to this country. You ever wonder why so many immigrants work in a hospital? I'm gonna tell you how that scam works. Let's say the 5 of us apply for a job with the hospital. We can all apply. The HR director is an immigrant. What happens is the immigrants who already work there, tell their family members and friends, there's a job open. So they get the push through. They get the push through and they get the job. Now, when they get the job, guess what else happens? They now getting kickbacks from the family member or friend that they got them the job. Oh, you got to pay me $100 a week or whatever. This is what's going on. They are hoarding jobs for their ethnic group, which is illegal. And you wonder why affirmative action must be dismantled. This is why. This is illegal. And it's immoral. Here you got all of these immigrants who come in and get these jobs that they never fought for. You didn't fight for shit. But you came here to reap the benefits. And on top of reaping the benefits, you're stifling the employment from Americans, in particular Black Americans. I hope, listen, the wrath of God is coming down on y'all. I love it. All of these Latinos on these construction sites. How the hell did that happen? Because Julio in there, he calling Raphael. Raphael is calling Juan. And now they got a crew to accept less money. Ain't no Black men want no construction jobs? I can give you 100 right now.
Look at this one.
What the hell is going on here? There were 2 class action lawsuits against what do you call those? Hiring firms. Who were one in Chicago who were purposefully excluding Blacks from gaining employment through that agency. And only hiring Hispanics. Now, when you look at all these police departments flooded with illegals and legal that have a disdain for Black Americans. The dude who was hit in Brooklyn beat the stuffing beat out of him. Those are immigrants who got the job. They have a disdain for us. Remember last summer when the brother was walking across the street? I think it was in Lower Manhattan. And the Latino cops rolled up on him and beat him out of his slides. This is what's happening. They are worse than the white supremacists.
Mm-hmm.
You coming in to reap the rewards that our folks fought for. You low down, dirty bastards. And now you're getting medical services, Medicaid, Medicare, Health First, whatever the hell it's called.
All
you
of it.
Because in your homeland, you can't get the medical benefits. They will leave you sitting out in a lobby for days waiting for service. You got the nerve. But like I said, these things are not topics that these so-called Black organizations want to have discussions about. CMOTAP, December 12th, Rainbow Push, National Action Network. None of you cocksuckers is having these conversations. If it don't involve a scam against white folks, then they don't want no parts of it. Because that's what it is. These are nothing but shakedown organizations. Yelling at empty buildings with no tangibles. You look crazy. But I had to calm down because that water bill hurts my heart. And if I tell you the price that I got to pay, it'll make you cry.
Oof.
This is how they getting their money back. This is how they getting their money back. This city is flooded and rampant with immigrants who are doing us a disservice. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it. When they get their jobs in government, they're not advocating for us. They're advocating for their own. They don't even mention us. This is a fact. Matter of fact, let me pull up a receipt. Because y'all know I got receipts for days. Hold on. Let me pull this up right here. Check this out.
Pan-African Tether Caucus.
Hello to all my divine nine brothers and sisters. And my soror.
Catastrophic for Black Americans.
And to all my HBCU brothers and sisters.
Absolutely dangerous to Black Americans.
They pose as you, but they fight for them.
Let me give you some background. In 1971, 13 members of the 92nd United States Congress established what we now know as the Congressional Black Caucus, or the CBC. These founding members saw a need for the nation's Black voices to be heard and represented on Capitol Hill.
Caribbean Americans have enriched the United States beyond numbers. They have made the United States better, stronger, more vibrant, while serving as a credit to the Caribbean region and the United States of America.
Been a complete and utter disaster.
The most horrific times in American history.
I myself am a proud daughter of Jamaican immigrants. My mother, Dr. Una Clark, served as the first Caribbean-born female member of the New York City Council. In fact, she was the first foreign-born female to serve in the New York City Council.
An attack on the rule of law and the Constitution that undergirds it.
For those reasons, I am proud to represent one of the largest Caribbean diaspora communities in the nation and to serve as one of the co-chairs of the Congressional Caribbean Caucus.
And corruption.
However, unfortunately, the Caribbean region stands at a crossroads today. Many of the nations face high energy prices, environmental degradation, public health challenges, and economic challenges imposed by the corresponding banking crisis.
And corruption.
Haiti, in particular, has been beset by numerous challenges over the past few years through no fault of its own. I believe that the United States must not be silent in the face of those challenges.
No matter what the odds, we've got to press on.
The Caribbean region is known favorably as the third border of the United States.
And no matter what the outcome is on this singular day, we're going to press on.
Instead, it should aid our Caribbean neighbors to help ensure a vibrant future in the region.
and corruption.
Most recent hearings was on the effect of illegal immigration on Black wage and employment levels, and the evidence that we gathered shows that unequivocally the wage and employment levels of Black Americans are disproportionately adversely affected by illegal immigration, particularly when it pertains to the effect on Black males. A number of occasions reached out to political leadership, specifically the Congressional Black Caucus, because, they call themselves the Congressional Black Caucus. I didn't call them that. And I thought that they would be particularly concerned about this particular issue because the adverse impact is egregious. So I can tell you that we made a number of attempts to highlight this issue to the Congressional Black Caucus. We sent several letters to the then head of the Congressional Black Caucus. All we heard were crickets. So there is, my concern is that on a political level, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of energy behind this particular issue and trying to address the impact of this particular issue. I think that's an abomination, and I'll leave it at that.
We're going to press on until victory is won. I yield back.
What we found also was, regardless of the wage levels, illegal immigrants displaced Black workers in areas that had traditionally been populated by Black workers. And there you have it. And there you have it. Is this what you continue to vote for? We have voted ourselves into this very condition. Mm-hmm. But now, as Tad say, we're in a technological age. And a lot of people still moving with an antiquated mindset and antiquated information and refuse to pivot. Nobody cares if we get stomped on. Here the professionals tell you, the professional economists who have appealed to this Congressional slaughter caucus. And Hakeem Jeffries look retarded with them hand signals. He just looks so fake. Knock it off. You're like a robot. People big up Shirley Chisholm, not knowing that she got that push for that congressional seat because she was a speechwriter for Eisenhower, not because of the tangibles she attained. Where are they? Where are they? Somebody name them for me. What are the tangibles that she attained specifically for Black Americans? I'll wait. I got all night. But this is crazy. This is crazy. So, like I said, there was a hearing took place. They took that video down. The whole video.
Dang. I didn't download it yet. Shoot, well, I'm glad I got our testimony then.
They took it down. Hopefully they'll repost it after tonight. I guess they got wind that we be going in on their stuff. But
look, man, I don't play no games now because other people. Mm-hmm. I can't even blame what I have to do on the commission anymore. What I got because anyway, go ahead.
So Sister Brooke and Brother Divine attended. Normally if I can't attend in person, I'm on virtually, but I couldn't do that on this Saturday. I had some family events that I needed to attend. So since they took the video down, and I can't play it, if y'all can give a little background of what happened this Saturday, in particular with the selected speakers, I should say.
Child. Yeah, they sure did. They took it. Dang it. Child.
I'd have been on it.
Oh my God, dang. And this is why I be downloading it, but I just was tired and I just haven't done it. Dang it. They took it down because they embarrassed. First of all, they didn't the invited speaker. They didn't even publish. They didn't even live stream most of her speech. Dr. Cody from the National Action Network, okay, who claims to be a leader in education, but all she has under her belt when it comes to education is a closed daycare center called Cody's Kids. Look that up. Okay. And so, but she's a leader in education. All right. Okay. So they didn't even, she was the first speaker and they were late, which is fine, because it was far and the weather wasn't the greatest anyway. So, fine, whatever. I'm not going to talk, crap about them because they was late. But they did not start the live stream with her. They did not allow her entire speech to be live streamed. So I caught the tail end of it because we came a little bit late due to the weather as well, and as far as heck and traffic and stuff. So we were a bit late. And plus, understand, when they have meetings like that, I'm getting off work at 8 a.m. and leaving straight. Like I got off work, got dressed, whatever, got my stuff together, went and picked up Divine, and thank God Divine was, kind enough to drive, so my sleepy behind didn't have to drive. You know what I'm saying? So understand, like, this is how dedicated I am to being there. I'll be up for hours and hours and hours straight, and then have to write a speech. So so they let her speak, and I caught the tail end of her speech. And the tail end, she was just talking about what she always testifies about. Now it's just a longer testimony with, about how it should be education programs for everybody, even white tea folks. We got to educate the world on our history and blah, 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 right? And so, that was that. So when we walked in, there was a gentleman and he started talking about it. And he brought up the two kids, the one that shot, that, pew-pewed. I don't know, this is YouTube. I don't know what to say on what platform no more. I'll be confused. The one who unalived the 15-year-old, the Jamaican child who unalived the 15-year-old Haitian child. And he's bringing that up as a point of reference on how our children need education. Those ain't foundational Black American children, but that's the part pretty much that we walked in on. And so they started, going on. Like I said, it was just about educational programs. Now, Dr. Cody already don't like me. Keisha has already informed me that every single time I am giving my testimony, she's giving me dirty look daggers, and I care not. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here for her to like me. I'm not here like some people that's on Twitter who sit there and have all the smoke for foundational Black Americans, but then go into these hearings and kiss the cheeks of our enemies. I'm not here to make friends. Okay? Especially with our enemies, people who are trying to steal our birthright. I'm not going to kiss your cheek. She be trying to say hello to me, and I always look at her stone face. Don't say hello to me. I'm not good at playing these political games. I'm not good. If I don't like you, I don't like you. And she is somebody who I don't like. And clearly she don't like me, but in my face she want to be fake, and I don't like it. So I'm not fake back. So anyway, she is Dr. Cody. Right. I'll be nice, President Devon, and I won't say the person's name, but that's what he be doing to her.
Here go Keisha starting trouble. See? She
that's
always
what he
blaming
be doing to her when he be in these hearings, and then he get online and have smoke for foundational Black Americans, but he talk about he's for the lineage, even though his father raised what we think is his father raised his hand and said that he was an immigrant. We won't say your name, but you know who you are. Boy. And if you ever try me, anyway, we won't get into that. We won't get into that. But yes, that's what he be doing to Dr. Cody. Kissing her cheeks. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So when it was my turn to speak, you know, I made sure that the few minutes that I could catch of her speech, I referenced. I referenced her directly because I was already trying to figure out if you take a look, if you sent emails, you can see that you guys, the family, y'all have sent 1,500 emails to the commission requesting that they get Andrew Barnes of Numbers USA to come in and do a presentation on how immigration has hurt foundational Black Americans. And me and President Divine he had already reached out to Andrew just to make sure, and he ain't been contacted yet. But you're gonna bring in this Dr. Cody with her debunked, non-existent daycare center? So she could come up there and rattle off nonsense and babble? Oh, I had to call her out on it. And I called her by name. I didn't even, y'all know me. I don't say hello. I don't introduce myself. I need every second of my 3 minutes so I can pop stuff and spit facts. I need every second of my 3 minutes. So if you don't know my name, I don't care. What you will remember is everything that I said in them 3 minutes. You ain't got to know my name. Know what I said. So when I finished my testimony, supposedly Dr. Cody was so mad. I'm so busy, and that's the thing. I guess it's a good and bad thing, but I was so busy trying to screen record my whatchamacallit before somebody else can post it before me without putting my call to actions up there like somebody tends to do. I was so busy trying to screen record my testimony, I ain't even know all the melee that was going on behind me. Apparently, she got so angry about what I said. She was yelling at me. The same woman who be sitting there telling us that we need to be quiet and we need to be civil and we need to behave ourselves, and how come you don't sit still and it's not your time, and the hypocrisy of it all. She was sitting there, she was yelling, talking about, but I think, and then like President Devon said, she rage quit and left, honey. I made her so mad. She took a bad bill behind and left.
Yeah, hard wig, but go ahead.
Yeah, that hard wig. She left. The wig is always a few seconds behind her. She was out the door, honey. She was out. So she got so bad she left. And so that is pretty much the backstory. And shout out to the people of Newberg. Let me tell you, we met such amazing family members out there. Sincere, love the God is in the chat. And, he told me he's from Newberg. And I was like, well, shout out to your people because they were amazing. Brother Allen was amazing. Matter of fact, I should, while you play the testimony, I'm going to go get the cards of the politicians that we met that we're going to have, further conversations with. It was the family was amazing. We got to hold babies. Yeah, that same child that you're going to hear making amen and yes in me on my testimony. I got to hold him. So, just shout out to the people of Newberg. I really enjoyed meeting you all. Thank you so much for their support, because they were very excited to learn some of the things that we said, and excited that we were there to give the kind of the voice that they felt that they needed to be in that room. And that is what President Divine and I try to do wherever we go, is to put a voice to all the things that we are thinking. And I'll let President Divine go ahead and say anything he needs to say. I think I told it all. Sorry, President.
Shout out to Sincere to love God. Go ahead, Brother Divine, or you want me to just play the clip?
Dr. Cody, the core question remains: vocational education for who? Expanded technical training for who? Well-paying career pathways for who? Apprenticeships for who? Because when we say all students, we have to be honest. Not all students were the descendants of people whose laboring, suffering, and exclusion built the foundation of this country. That distinction matters. All students are not the descendants of those affected by slavery and the badges and incidents thereof. There's a reoccurring issue. Resources and opportunities created through the historical sacrifices of foundational Black American freedmen often end up benefiting everyone except the very community whose struggles made those resources necessary in the first place. Right now, the mayor is giving $11.2 billion to illegals are proposing a new education 2K program for all. On paper, that sounds positive, but opening those seats to illegals, people who do not experience the generational impact of slavery, segregation, systematic exclusion, raises real consequences or real concerns. Meanwhile, freedmen have paid taxes and contributed to this city and this country for generations without receiving full and equal access to the benefits of those taxes we're supposed to secure. The same patterns show up in education. Foundational Black Americans fought the New York City Board of Education for fair admissions of specialized high schools through standardized testing. Decades later, the test has been made nearly impossible to pass without expensive test prep, recreating inequity in a different form. And when efforts are made to fix this imbalance, there is an organized resistance coming from the Asian community. The Asian community who are now in 2026 considered minorities, but back when we fought for the test, they were classified as white. This is why we, the foundational Black American freedmen, have learned to be specific. Even HBCUs, institutions created because freedmen were excluded from higher education, now serve a growing number of students who are not descendants of the community that the schools were built for. They may share similar appearances, but not the same lineage, history, or generational impact tied to this land drenched in our blood. This is why clarity and specificity are essential. Without it, the very people whose ancestors paid the highest price continue to be pushed into the margins. Bring serious speakers like Andre Barnes to do a presentation on how immigration has hurt foundational Black Americans. Thank you to the grassroots for funding us to be here today, because I learned more foundational Black American history from the grassroots than I ever learned in any Black history studies program. If you were annoyed by the agenda and inclusion of everyone and the disingenuous intentions to steal our reparations in the form of education programs where legacy organizations defraud the community out of what is owed to us, I implore you to send emails to our legislators by going to BREUCK calltoaction.com. Thank you.
Talk that shit, bro.
Thank you, Tad.
Man, Brother Divine, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was live and I had to go right after. So, like it was just, that was not a pleasant feeling. And, people in the room, understood and sympathized with me. So I think that's why I got a little bit more, I got some good juju and good vibes from the community because they understood. And I'll wait till after you play mine to give my full synopsis of Newberg itself that was represented in the room. But what I will say is, if y'all didn't notice, Sister Brooke was over time and they let her rock out. And so I don't know what that means. I'm just saying that, something is happening here. Because at past hearings, they trying to shut us down at 2 minutes, 50. They're starting to try to wind it down and saying stuff and doing things. One hearing, I can't remember which one it was. I had to tell them, y'all stole 15 seconds from me, and I didn't get it back anyway. We were starting to see a change, a shift. Now we understand that most of the commissioners were not present, so that does make a difference. But just kind of showing, you know, that, and I think this is important, the longer we stand on our square, the more you win people to your side because they understand that you're unrelenting. A lot of times people are just waiting to see how serious you are before they make a determination on what it is that they're going to do. Because unfortunately, even with people that are in positions of power, they're trying to ride the wave. They don't want to step out front and be first. So they're trying to see how much of the arrows and bullets you're going to take before you turn back. And when you don't turn back, they're like, okay, yeah, something here. I might need to jump on this.
And while I play this, the woman who's sitting with the scarf, that's the communications person on the commission. This is the person that I address there in Brooklyn and in writing about getting resources to Dorothy Diamonds TV and all Bible access media. This is no movement. You know, she is dead set on the open line and Amsterdam News and crap like this. If they got a $5 million budget, why can't the grassroots get that bread? Why after 1,500 emails, there's no response as to getting Andrew Bonds in or Andre Bonds in? This is crazy. So this is the person. So y'all can send an email direct to the commission and tell her that. Repeat what I said. This is the medium outfits we want to spread the word. Because here, what's going to happen? If Dorothy Diamonds is promoting these hearings, the grassroots, the base, more and more of us is going to show up.
And that's not what they want.
Exactly. So this is her, Elaine, whatever the hell her name is. But she is the one. And when you go to New York State Reparations Commission, you'll see her name there. Send an email addressing her personally that this is what we need. All right. So let me play Brother Divine, and we'll come right back. Hold on.
Okay. My name is Divine Prince. I'm the current president of the U.S. Freedmen Project. I'm so excited that today's theme is education because that has been the mission of the U.S. Freedmen Project since we educated the New York State legislative body on how to craft a constitutionally sound reparations bill that does not violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Unfortunately, they ignored that education. This current Reparations Commission is formed on unconstitutional legislation. Just in case this audience is unaware, policies based on race are unconstitutional. An African American is a federally recognized racial category whose definition is anyone with origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa. This includes Afro-Caribbeans, Continental Africans, Afro-Latinos, and Black Americans whose families earned the status of freedmen through emancipation in the 13th Amendment. That's why Asians were able to overturn affirmative action. That's why the Fearless Fund was stopped. That's why the Black farmers couldn't get the funding they deserved. It's why the Reparations Commission in Evanston had to give reparations to white and Hispanic recipients so it didn't get shut down. It's why that Latino get the Black Mother Mortality Program shut down in California. And it's why the Congressional Black Caucus got sued for their Black scholarships. Ed Bloom, the right-wing activist, is using the 14th Amendment to shut down any race-based legislation. The U.S. Freedmen Project warned the legislators about this in 2023 and have been warning this commission to not make the same mistake at every hearing. Racial justice is not reparations, including everybody with melanin on a justice claim. That is a claim for the badges, incidents, and vestiges of slavery that only Black Americans survived from enslavement in the U.S. to present day is an act of injustice, and it breaks constitutional law. It's why even well-intentioned initiatives like what Dr. Blake recommended have never yielded results. Grouping Africa's diaspora in with freedmen to create Black studies and Black solutions erases individual cultures and lived experiences. Dr. Blake mentioned the AAPI community's push for curriculum. They push for that curriculum and push for data disaggregation for all their individual ethnic groups at the same time. The African American racial category must do the same. Each ethnic group that falls under that category deserves to be acknowledged and respected. Yvette Clarke, who is an Afro-Jamaican politician, attempted to do just this back in 2009 on the federal level. And currently in New York, there's legislation calling for that same disaggregation for the African-American ethnic groups. That's A6341 and S7664. New York has already signed disaggregation laws for the Asian American Pacific Islander demographic and for the Middle Eastern North African demographic. But imagine how different that case involving the teens in Queens go if the shooter was known to be an Afro-Jamaican flight risk instead of a Black teen whose families are almost always generationally American within the contiguous U.S. states. Without disaggregation, the delineation is politically impossible for those families that survived enslavement in the U.S. to get any specific legislation. We have also organized a community-based email writing campaign that has sent over 1,500 requests to this commission to have Andre Barnes from Numbers USA coming to talk about how immigration has been weaponized against Black Americans by white supremacy. Disaggregation and reparation must go hand in hand, and reparations must be lineage-based. Thank you.
And fried. And you know, I'm glad he brought up Yvette Clarke, because this woman is dangerous, very dangerous. Hold on, let me play this. Oh, sorry.
That I extend to you my heartfelt greetings on the occasion of the 63rd anniversary of the independence of the abundantly blessed nation of Jamaica, her people, and our diaspora. I am Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke, and I proudly represent New York's 9th Congressional District, known for its very diverse communities in Central and Southwest Brooklyn, New York, and is commonly referred to as the 15th Parish of Jamaica.
Meet Yvette Clarke. Congresswoman Clarke serves as chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. She also serves as co-chair of the Congressional Caribbean Caucus, and she is co-chair of the Congressional House Haiti Caucus.
The United States is a nation of immigrants. And while some were captured and bought in shackles and enslaved in this nation earlier on and did not come of their own volition, this nation ultimately is a nation that has been repopulated over time by people who have come from around the world. That should be the basis from which all conversations about the future of this nation is conducted.
How can she represent them at the same time?
I have led and signed 50+ congressional letters on immigration to the administration addressing the following range of issues: maintaining and extending, redesignating TPS for Haiti, Venezuela, and other countries. I've written letters on the wrongful deportations, oversight of DHS detention facilities, opposing family detention, alarming enforcement actions at immigration courts, the Trump travel ban 2.0, and the economic impact of immigration-related executive orders.
We know that the Trump administration's TPS for more than 350,000 Haitian nationals living here in the United States is an act, as my dear sister Ayanna Pressley would say, of policy violence.
It is critical that the United States do its part in helping to alleviate the suffering of the people of Haiti.
Look where her funding comes from.
That, you know, when I hear colleagues talk about, you know, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, you know, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
If the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus is a tether fighting for people she left in the Caribbean, then this is an act of hostility, using the plight of our ancestors to funnel endless help to her fellow immigrants.
This is the problem. This is why delineation and disaggregation is a must. And I don't hear nobody from the Pan-African community speaking out against this. protesting against this. But you're outside protesting for Iran. You're outside protesting for Palestine. You're outside protesting for TPS status extension. You're a traitor. Diabolical. Brother Divine, since we left off with your video, your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say, and it's kind of what we've been finding, right? Like, so what's interesting is we don't know how or why they're picking the locations that they're picking, right? We don't fully know that, but here's what's happening that I think is, I don't know if it's it doesn't matter whether it's intentional or unintentional. But when you get outside of New York City, and this is kind of so people understand what's happening in the state of New York, because people are consistently and constantly saying, oh, where's the FBA's at in New York? And so, yes, we understand what's happening with the Black Exodus, and that's the foundation of Black American Exodus for the most part. We understand how immigration precedes gentrification and how that's affected our numbers. Here's what I need to hit for those that are outside New York for you to understand what's going on inside New York. When you get to certain locations upstate New York, damn near 100% of the Black people that you're going to see are foundational Black American. When we start talking about Utica, Newberg, Binghamton, things that there's almost no Afro immigrants in these areas. Buffalo. So these are our strongholds. So when people are saying we're not the majority in New York anymore, you might have an argument when we're talking about New York City. That is still yet to be determined. That's why disaggregation is so important. But the bottom line is that as a whole, in the state of New York, foundational Black Americans still run the yard. And those areas upstate all count. We're talking about state-led legislation. It's the entire state, not just the 5 boroughs. And so what they're doing with the commission and what we're finding, and Sister Brooke could chime in and either agree or tell me I'm getting something wrong. And as you guys can hear on the video, which is why I think Sister Brooke's friend ran out. When we're finished speaking, damn near 100% of the audience is on our side, knowing that they were on our side beforehand, or unknowingly that they was going to be on our side after we finished speaking, so much so that the gentleman that you can hear the loudest voice in the back, we saw him on our way in. And, he was like, the way he carried himself and spoke, I thought he knew who we were. And it was just another foundation Black American that, is plugged in to the network and didn't know. But no, he had that foundational Black American presence and swag. And he was just talking to us as a fellow foundational Black American that did not know us. But you could just feel the energy. You just felt the kinship. And when we spoke, and afterwards he was like, yo, if I'd have known that y'all was going to spit like this when I saw y'all outside, it would have been even, it'd have been a much different, greeting. It would have been even bigger and better than what I did. Because he was saying that he felt like I didn't have to speak anymore because y'all said everything that I was going to say. And I thought I was going to have to come here and say it because nobody else was going to say it. And so that's what we're finding when we go to these other areas, is that it's a bunch of foundational Black Americans that have this experience, either feel like they can't say it, understand it's taboo to say, or at least it's been taboo in the past. But once we're there and we standing boldly on our square for the lineage, speaking truth to power to others that have melanin or that are heavily melanated. I know how my sister Keisha says everybody got melanin. So that are heavily melanated, it activates them. And I let Sister Brooke talk towards what she was talking about when she got the cards, because what we're finding outside of New York City is that a lot of the politicians outside of New York City are on, like they are on the type of time we on. And so, what I'm saying? Like, but when they're going around these cities, I mean, there's different areas, and we bringing that foundation Black American gospel. Understand for those that know that, study the word, how we feel about it. When we get into these rooms, it's like being in the upper room. not that upper room. The one where they had the flames on the top of their head because everybody was on code and on one accord. We're starting to see that type of energy being passed from one another. And like I said, I'll let Sister Brooke and then let her share with you the conversation she was having with the politicians. It was so crazy because the way they spoke and what they were saying, I thought they were just regular everyday Foundation Black Americans. Until they came out and said, "Oh yeah, and I'm the council member and I'm the assembly person up here." I'm like, what the hell? I wish we had somebody, downstate, as they say, that would sound like you're a 3 or you or 4 you, like we got member Lucas. And so I'll let Sister Brooke talk about, her conversations and her feelings as she started perusing the room after she lit a fire to that bad wig, and we found that it wasn't real hair, but it was plastic hair. And y'all know what happens to plastic when it's burnt. So go ahead.
I don't know exactly what you want me to speak on, but so I'm only going to speak on what I want to talk about. And that is that, they were just impressed and trying to figure out, like, who are y'all? Like, what? Because after I do, because understand when we come in, I got a speech to write. I have to listen to what they're saying to know what I'm going to address, right? So I'm focused, and so family, if you ever come to one of these hearings and in the beginning, I'm not very talkative or smiling very much, is because I'm focused. You know what I'm saying? I got to pay attention to what's happening. So then after they speak, during the first break, I'm writing, I'm rewriting, I'm checking it to make sure it's 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I got to go over it a few times. I got to check my spelling. I got to check my punctuation. I got to check and make sure I said it in the right, because it got to be exactly right. That way I don't stumble over my words, right? So I'm checking. And so when it's over, at the end, then now it's time for me to try to fellowship with the family and pass out flyers, get people to send emails and stuff like that. Because now the second part of my job is there. So when everything was over, I'm going around passing out flyers, and that's how I'm talking to people. And I met Amari Shakur. He's a councilman at large. And you could talk. I didn't get the card from the lady because she had already given one to you. I didn't get one from her. That was the second politician that was there. And they were just so proud of us and loving toward us. I met some members of the school board in Newberg, and they were very welcoming and kind, and just shocked at the scholarship that we brought in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? They're like, wow, I didn't even know that. I never heard that before. I didn't know. And so, the family was just, like I said, it was a whole, like, it was like, it's like a family reunion. And then when we finished talking to the politicians and I came back around after I gave, all the flyers out to everybody who, I thought would want to, send emails. Then I come back around to where President Divine is, and he was with that gentleman that saw us when we walked in. And, then that's when I got a chance to meet the child who, was amen and yesing me in the whatchamacallit. And it was just like, I was like, can I hold him? And without hesitation, she just handed the baby over to me, and he didn't cry, fuss, or nothing. He just climbed into my arms, and then I got to play with the baby. I was like, look at you, I'm telling him that he is the reason why I'm doing this. He's 2. He look like he's about 2, right, Divine? He look like he's like 2 years old, and he don't know what I'm saying, but I'm speaking into his life that he will have reparations. I don't know if I will have it, but you will have reparations, young man. And we're gonna make sure that happens, that you have a better life, and that you have more of a chance to succeed on this land that we built than we did. And so. It was just, like I said, we met so many people. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And this is what's happening to us when we're, like he said, when we're in these little towns, and then we ask them where to go eat after that. That's what they're gonna know. Where's the good soul food spot? So, you know, then that's the next thing, because we know that the family knows where to go get something to eat, okay? Because most of the time we be hungry when we be, you know, that's why I be so angry. Now, let me stop. But yeah, so, you know, that was our experience. And, you know, so we'll be able to connect with these. So these are more people that we'll be able to get as sponsors and co-sponsors, because remember, what we're doing is in New York State. So they count. They matter. The you know, the councilman we just met, he matters, you know, and so we this is how we get more support for our bill, and how we meet people for the future, for future bills as well, you know, because like President Devine has said before, you know, this is a stepping stone. You know, everything we want, everything stems out of delineation, because we can't get anything for us or by us or strictly for us without delineation, because until that happens, it is always going to be minority set-asides. It is always going to be, you know, Black and brown communities. It's always going to be disenfranchised communities, urban communities, historically Black neighborhoods where they've already gentrified all the historically Black people out of. You know, it's constantly gonna be situations like that until we delineate. And so, you know, we're gonna continue to show up for the family. And I thank you guys for the donations, because, you know, y'all paid for the gas, and the tolls alone was $25. That's just tolls. I didn't pay not a cent in gas yet. And so, you know, you guys help pay for those things. And so it makes sure that, you know, we always have a way. And then, like I said, with whatever you give to me, I can go pick up President Devine. Devine don't have to meet me nowhere. I go pick him up on y'all dime. You know what I mean? And so, and all I have to do is just be sleepy for a little bit. And I really appreciate y'all. And man, I can't say thank you enough. I no longer have to budget for already done. It's already paid for.
Definitely appreciate those donations. But on the other side of the aisle, you know, Brother Devon sent this to me, I think earlier this afternoon. You know, people say we have no power. You know, we don't move the needle. Okay. Let's see what these folks talking about. Hold on. CNN, liberal media. Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now in the numbers is President Trump and the Republican Party are chipping away at the long-term advantage that Democrats have had with Black voters, with African Americans. You can see it right here. Look, Trump's approval among African Americans at this point in term one, he was at 12%. You know, he's been losing ground with a lot of it. He's gaining ground with African Americans. He's up to 16% at this point. And you say, this isn't that big of a shift. But I will tell you, Republicans absolutely love this shift that's going on, because Democrats have had such a long-term advantage. The fact that he's actually gaining ground versus where he was in term number one, this has major implications for elections down the line, because Democrats, especially in a lot of these tight races, you talk about places like Georgia, right down in the South, you see this type of movement for Trump actually gaining ground. This could have major ramifications and help put Republicans over the top in a number of southern places in the midterm elections.
But do you see this as part of a bigger trend?
I see this as absolutely part of a bigger trend. Donald Trump's Republican Party is absolutely gaining ground, not just him gaining in terms of his approval rating, but look at the party ID margin, Kate, because this to me was absolutely stunning. Look at this party ID margin among African Americans. At this point in Trump term number one, Democrats had a 63-point advantage. That is absolutely fallen. Look at where it is now. A double-digit shift away. Democrats, of course, still have the advantage, but it's a 12-point shift to the Republican Party. And I look back through Gallup's records. They sent me their records. And this, in fact, lead that Democrats have is actually smaller than any lead from 2006 to 2021. So Democrats are leading. But again, we're talking about chipping away. Republicans are chipping away at this long-term advantage that Democrats have had among African Americans We see it in terms of Trump's approval rating, and we even see it to a wider degree among the party ID margin, where all of a sudden there are a number of African Americans who are walking away from the Democratic Party, and a number of them who are walking into the Republican tent.
That is very interesting looking at that past Gallup information.
Yeah.
What does this mean for the race for control in Congress?
Okay, so you see this right here. You see this 51-point advantage that Democrats have, significantly less than you see that 63-point advantage. And what we will note was back in 2024, right, Donald Trump put in a historically strong performance among African Americans. Democrats performed the worst in a generation. Have they gained any of that coalition back from where they fell down to in 2024? But take a look here. Okay, choice for election among African Americans. Kamala Harris was leading amongst that group in the pre-election polling by 63 points. Are Democrats gaining back any of that ground? It's a 62-point advantage now. Republicans are holding on to the gains that they made among African Americans in 2024. Republicans are gaining among African Americans. They are chipping away at that long-term advantage. The Donald Trump-led Republican Party is making gains among African Americans that we simply put have not seen the Republican Party make in a generation.
Fascinating. Good to see you here. Thanks.
Though we don't have no power. I thought it's just online. And by the way, I sent a message to them to refer to us as Foundation of Black Americans because we don't want to be confused with other folks. And, you know, folks tend to agree with that message. So, but speaking of Kamala Harris, shout out to Sabby Sabs on this piece. Let's play this, and then we'll come back and deal with South Africa. Hold on.
Apparently, Kamala Harris decided to add other groups to the Freedmen Bank. For those who are not aware, I'll break this down very quickly. She's going to explain this a little bit as well. The Freedmen Bank, it was created for freedmen, those who are free, were freed from slavery, those who are ADOS, and like their descendants, obviously, American descendants of slavery. That's what the Freedmen's Bank was created for. There's a reason why it's freedmen and not Black People Bank, right? So apparently last year, she decided to collaborate with the U.S. Department of Treasury and make changes to the Freedmen's Bank. Don't have to believe me. Here's her speech here, and then I'm going to show you the text to highlight some of the changes that have been made. And I think if you are freedmen, I think you're not going to be happy about this if you didn't know about it. Here we go.
So Freedmen's Savings Bank was founded by the United States Congress in 1865. It was a bank unlike any other our nation had known. Freedmen's Bank was established to serve Black Americans newly freed from slavery.
So notice, once again, she tells you exactly what the bank was established for. So here is Kamala Harris openly admitting she knows who this bank was for. Let's go on.
To help them build wealth and to build a better future. At Freedmen's, to open a savings account, you just needed 5 cents, which, as I've calculated, is about $1 today. In the years after its founding, tens of thousands of Black families opened an account at Freedmen's. They saved up to buy a farm, to build a home, to open a business. Even school children saved their pocket money to deposit it in this institution. And then 9 years later, after the bank first opened its doors, because of an economic downturn and because of the organized assault on the project of Reconstruction, Freedmen's Bank was forced to close. Over 60,000 people lost their savings. Now, Freedmen's Bank was guided by a vision. The vision of an economy that works for all Americans and includes all Americans.
Let me pause. So you see what she's doing? Notice how includes all Americans. So this is something I do want to point out. A lot of times people bring up Black Wall Street, the burnings of Black Wall Streets. There are several different Black Wall Streets at that time. But a lot of times people bring that up as another example when freedmen lost their wealth in this country. But that's not the only example. This is another example here, the Freedmen's Bank, where all those people lost their wealth. So just keep that in mind.
Just for some clarity, I was doing research on my father's side of the family. And my 5th great grandfather, he and his son had savings in the Freedmen's Bank, of which we have documentation for. And we were up maybe, I think my cousin, aunt, uncle was in the chat, maybe till like 2 o'clock in the morning, going through this paperwork. So, you know, people come out and say, you know, they don't deserve nothing. What is you talking about? What are you talking about? But as played in that clip, now she want to grandfather everybody into it. This is diabolical. The same woman who stole the estate of Nina Simone. She's a thief and whore. Sorry, Brother Devon, I had to tell the truth. That's what she is. And this what you want to represent you? You crazy. You crazy or you smoke crack. Which one is it? This is insane. Tad said both. But people get mad when we talk about delineation and disaggregation. But what's happening in South Africa? They making it plain. They want their resources for their own citizens. They want the Ghanaians out, excuse me, and they want the Nigerians out. They want their tangibles for themselves.
Nah,
What'd you say, Tad?
I said, nah, that ain't true. They practice Pan-Africanism. It's one Africa. They want everybody to get along.
Man, please. But nobody's calling them divisive. Nobody's calling them xenophobic. Let's play it and come back. Hold on.
Fixing this continent. This thing of you guys moving from one country to the other. It's no longer working. We don't want this as African people anymore. We are tired of seeing African migrants moving all over the world, refusing to fix your own countries. Now we're making it very clear to you guys, Utitina, we don't want you here. We want you to fix your countries. Now you came here with a traveling document. You came with a passport. You know that you are a visitor, but now you decided to come and integrate in our communities. You know very well that what you have done is wrong.
How many children do you have here?
We can come to Ghana and do what you're doing.
Passport.
Eh? Now you are carrying a bucket. It's 11 a.m. You were supposed to be fighting the government of Ghana there to ensure that they're getting things right.
No, there's no fight in Ghana. You must fight what they do.
Where's your papers?
Passport.
Passport.
Where's the passport?
Take it out.
Let me see your passport. Let me see.
We are fixing this continent. This thing of you guys moving from one country.
They said, show me your paperwork. Show me that paperwork. But we're the
Okay, tell me, who's the police officer that you are bribing to certify these things for you? Baba, let me tell you, I'm not foolish. These things, let me tell you, you know by law you're not supposed to certify as an immigrant. You're not allowed to certify your passport. No. Okay, why do you certify your passport in a foreign land?
Okay.
Let's just start there. Why do you certify your passport in a foreign land?
You see, it was raining. You guys talk on Facebook. How you? It was raining these days. Then when you go out with the passport, sometimes it gets spoiled. That's why I satisfy it so that it won't spoil.
Baba, Ghana don't do that.
Okay.
Ghana don't do that.
All right, sharp.
Ghana
Let me
is
show
the
you.
only African country that is.
Let me show you that when you are abusing our
thing.
systems, On the 10th of April, again, the 10th of April, you entered your country when? The very same day you when yeah, it's a proof. Yeah. Proof. Yeah, the proof.
Crocodile can't go.
You went to Ghana on the 10th and then you came back.
No,
because here it says you exited Ghana to South Africa. When? Here it says you entered, here you exited. And it's the same date. It's the 10th of April, 10th of April.
This stamp you got there in Elof Street on the street. This is where you got the stamp. Oh, they've got a connection here.
No.
I am telling you, that's where they buy it from.
When? Yeah, it's a proof. Yeah. Proof. Yeah, the proof.
That crocodile can't go.
You went to Ghana.
But we're xenophobic. We're divisive. But they not. They not. They shut down their businesses. Get the hell up out of here. Our chance to do it for our people. Hands and feet.
South Africans continue to be the lowest quality Black human beings on earth, perhaps to ever exist.
Hands and feet. We ain't put hands and feet on nobody.
You said Tad went to South Africa on us?
We delineating and seeking disaggregation by law. This is but we're the xenophobic ones. This is the first law of nature, self-preservation. Yep. But it's okay when others come here and get in certain job markets and hoard jobs for people of their lineage. But nobody sees that as a wrongdoing. Brother Tad, your thoughts. And then we go to Brother Black because he wants
I mean, hey man, just the way of the world. This is what's been going on. This is the things we've been calling out. Because again, the antiquated ideology that once we go to Africa, it'll automatically change to Wakanda. We'll live happily ever after as one big happy family. And that's not the truth. Again, people have been romanticizing Africa since the 50s and 60s. And now that we can go over there in real time and we see what's happening, you know, folks just don't want to accept the truth. They're not intelligent or mature enough to pivot. I get it. You want us to all get along. You want to go over there and play We Are the World, but that's not the reality. And the fact of the matter is that we have to get our stuff straight. Just like the South Africans told them to go back to Ghana and approach their government and get their stuff straight. This is what we're doing. We are approaching our government, but those who are cosplaying us don't want to rock the boat. So they said, why must you make trouble for everyone? We are all Black. Nah, we not. Not in the context you're trying to use it, homie. And we got things that we need addressed over here with our government based on what's owed to us. And these people are coming to interrupt because they don't want to have to deal with stuff like that back in their country or on the continent. And the fact of the matter is we're doing the right thing. We're doing what everyone else saying they should be doing over on their continent. But again, I said this about a year or two ago. Watch everybody start cosplaying our movement. And ain't that what they doing? Starting to kick foreigners out, starting to recognize them as the troublemakers that's making trouble for the citizens in these countries. I mean, they started kicking Nigerians out of other places. They're not allowed in Dubai and other spots. Now look at South Africa kicking other African immigrants out. I mean, we the trendsetters. We the template for all that everybody try to do. So I know what we doing is right, and I don't even worry about nobody else. Those folks, it's just sad that, you know, all that has to happen, because I think, you know, violence for the sake of violence is you know, caveman-like, to be honest with you. But if you have a legit reason to bust somebody's head, then by all means, have a go at it, have a field day. Like if you're touching children and elderly people, then by all means, you need your head split. But splitting somebody's head on the strength that they trying to create a better life for themselves, this is why we stay on this side of the fence and let them stay over there. Because we expert head busters, you know, but I digress. I passed the mic.
For real,
yeah,
for real.
But for real, Tad, though, remember I lived in Ghana, and when you on that side of the world, you hear the news of what's going on in the continent, especially in from other English-speaking countries, unless it's something egregious like war or, you know, some massacre or a natural disaster of some sort. And that ain't new. That been happening for the longest time, because I was there in 2004 the first time. I got sick, came back from malaria. I didn't stay that long. Then when I went back in 2008, every so often you hear about them purges. And I knew a few people that had to leave there and go back to Ghana because they would have got dealt with if they stayed. So it's not, yeah, from South Africa back to Ghana. I'm saying I've never been to South Africa. So, but they've been doing that. And the very few South Africans I meet in the States, they're more like us because the system is similar. You know, civil rights, apartheid, same shit, different toilet. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they can relate to us more because, you know, the histories are similar. And, you know, and I don't know.
So let me ask you this, Black.
Huh?
Why are they choosing to resort to mob violence just because they don't agree to immigrants being in their community? We're not doing that. You know, we pull up now, you know, like we pulled up on Utica. We ain't got no problem with the pull-up game. And had it came to that, we was with it. But that wasn't our first resort. Why is that happening in South Africa?
Because the conditions there are more dire, man. I mean, you know, we look at ourselves as broke with $20 over there. That's a small fortune, bro. So, you know, when you see somebody coming from another country eating well, and you know, you eating dirt, basically, it tends to make it, you know, let's get at them, get them out of here. Because like FBA is saying, you know, I don't think the South African government is like the United States government insofar as pushing the agenda for that to happen. This is my thought now, because I've never been there. So I'm just going off thought and the mentality of what it is to actually be on the continent. But it's more dire over there, because even after apartheid was banished and Mandela got out of jail and all of that good stuff, you have to remember, you know, just because the middle class doubled, it probably went from 0.8% to 1.6%. So basically, most of the people in the shanty towns and in the camps and all that, they still starving, basically.
Right.
So, but you're not going to see that because South Africa is very developed. It is the most developed country on the continent. You know what I'm saying? They'll show you like the equivalent of our 42nd and 5th, and not the Ville or, you know, or the South Bronx.
Right. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
It's still gutter like that.
Yeah. You know, and that was funny because the first time I went to Africa, we was rolling through some villages, and the guy said, "Y'all don't have places like this in America, do y'all?" I said, "Shit, this is places in the South, in Ghana."
Okay.
When I was in Ghana, you know, and they was under the assumption that we don't have little shanty towns in America, like, you know, like you would see in Ghana, you know. So I get your point. I get your point. You know, it's just to speak to the xenophobia that's always projected on us, but everybody practices it no matter where you go. In fact, we've been subjects of xenophobia as Black Americans. Even when people come over here, they think that they're better than us, and they come from shithole countries. You know, but based on the lies and the image that's portrayed around the world on what it is to be a Black American, it's always a hood, a thug, a junkie, a whore, a drug addict, you know, some dumb shit, as opposed to the dope people that we are. And subconsciously, they know we dope. They just don't want to admit it. But they'll cosplay us, try to be like us. I'll tell you a funny story when we was on the land, and I'm gonna pass the mic. We was in we was by Lenox Mall, we was in the parking lot just kicking it, and 4 Indian kids walked by, and Dog was like, Dog, you know, I call Doggy Dog. I call Doggy Diamonds just Dog. Never really call him Doggy. But Dog was like, yo, where y'all from? Dude was like, we from Houston. It's like, stop bullshit. Like, where are you from? He's like, we from here. We from Texas. And I was like, no, where's your family from? They was like, oh, India. He's like, all right, say it with your chest. Don't be ashamed of who you are and where you from. If you from India, say it with your chest. You know, and I say that because, again, they're denying their own heritage because the xenophobia that was instilled in them to not be proud of who you are. Sister Keisha, you know, they asked where we from. I'm from Brooklyn. What happened? I'm not going to act like I'm from somewhere else. I'm not going to go to Ghana and they say, where you from? I'll be like, I'm from Africa. Well, what part? Yeah, I am from here. You know, and people don't realize that's how crazy they sound when they don't stand in their own truth and be proud of who they are. I tell people in the New York Minute, I'm from Brooklyn. My mother and father are the first New Yorkers. My grandparents on both sides are from the South. That's it. My roots is down in the South. Halifax County, Virginia, Lil Mount, South Carolina, Newberg, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Weldon, South Carolina, Weldon, North Carolina, and Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. Come on, I know who my family is, so there's no shame in me being who I am. But everybody else is cosplaying. But I passed the mic, sis.
Nah, y'all kicking it, y'all throwing jams, but you know, when people leave here and they want to go to Ghana, you know, you gotta remember this ain't the Ghana of Nkrumah. You know, and I'm gonna remind people, you know, what took place over there before you start packing up and selling things and going over there. All right, not that feel good stuff, but what really happened.
What you are watching is a video of some Ghanaian students burning books of Kwame Nkrumah and other documents that were produced during his administration. This particular incident took place in early March 1966, just days after the 24th February coup that ousted Kwame Nkrumah from power. It was one of many acts of destruction of the documents and records of the Nkrumah era. Another such incident is recounted by Ghana's former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, in her book, It Takes a Woman. She was a student at Achimota School around the time of the anti-Nkrumah coup, and she recalled how the coup makers searched through her school to pull down photographs of Kwame Nkrumah. But for her, what was most shocking was what she described as the wave of book burning, in what, as she put it, was an attempt by the NLC to erase Kwame Nkrumah's legacy from Ghana's history. It must be noted that the destruction of books, documents, and records of the Nkrumah era by the NLC was systematic and widespread. Nkrumah himself talks about this in his book, Dark Days in Ghana. My personal research office, where documents of all kinds were being filed and valuable records were being built up, was ransacked, and the painstaking work of many years destroyed. Many thousands of books in my library were senselessly torn up or burnt. So now here is a question. If a leader is oppressive and deeply unpopular amongst his people, what should be done with the documents and records of his time in power? Should those records be destroyed, or should they be kept to show present and future generations how oppressive that leader was? I ask.
You keep it. You keep it.
That's a fact.
You keep it. You just have to clean up the crime scene. like a dummy. But we're going to get ready to close out. But this weekend past was the release of the Michael Jackson film. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I hope to see it very soon. He was clear about who he was.
I'm proud to be a Black American. I am proud of my race. I am proud of who I am. I have a lot of pride in who I am and dignity.
Clear. But you got to remember, it was a tether that helped put him down. And we should never, ever forget that.
Michael Jackson died, unfortunately, from an accident based upon his actions.
Hand on heart, you don't believe that, do you? You made that up. That's just not true.
That's not the case.
Look, if you are his friend, you would not tell that story.
I was not present when Michael Jackson took matters in his own hand. Michael Jackson, as you have realized now, is a drug addict.
I've got to be honest and say a court didn't believe you. Jurors didn't believe you. The judge said this was medical madness, that this was a homicide case, not even malpractice. Michael Jackson died because you killed him.
I did not kill Michael Jackson. I met Michael Jackson in his state. Lifeless. Michael Jackson died.
Never forget what that tether did. There's someone that I want to talk about, but I know I'm going to get hella backlash. And a lot of people love this cat. But he too, to help destroy FBAs who were in power so that he can attain the seat. For the TBT crew, I'll hit y'all up on the back end of who I'm talking about. And, it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. So, let's get the people up out of here. Brother Black, your final thoughts and commentary.
Just going back a little bit, I wanted to, when y'all was talking about your infamous mayor, Man Monkey, y'all got to understand, and like Sister Brooke was saying, I believe he was sent in to destroy New York from the inside out, like she said. Remember, he was in the Epstein files as a child with all of the people who are either unalived or in prison right now. Ghislaine Maxwell, Hillary Clinton, Epstein himself, one or two other people I don't remember right now. The picture was circulating out there when the files first came out. So y'all know what I'm talking about. So everybody's connected, just like Obama was. He was born in Hawaii, he was born in Kenya. Who knows where he was born? He probably was born in a test tube. Who knows? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is when you look at this as a game, you won't, your mind won't be so stressed out that you can't put it together and just say it got to play out how it's going to play out. So whatever we believe, research it and find out for yourself, because everything I just said is apparent. The pictures are out there. I don't need to make these things up to sound smarter than anybody that's on this panel already. We all know that this is the end road. And, like I said early in the show, they said that EBS is supposed to come out tomorrow. And a lot of things that I've been talking about over the years might happen. I ain't counting on it. I'm just telling y'all for your consumption, just in the event it does happen. Don't bug out. Just be prepared for it. Have some money, have some water and extra food around just in case, which is something you should have anyway. So with that said, I'm not going to take too long. It was a beautiful show. Again, I learned a lot. Let me go back to one more thing. My introduction to Newberg was during the the Alton Maddox versus Pagonis defamation case. I went up there a few times from the bus from the Slave Theater. This is in the maybe late 90s. Yeah, 96. No, 98, 99-ish. I don't remember the exact year, but so it's a lot of history up there. I'm glad y'all got to meet some good people up there. It's a small town, but it's like a little Brownsville or a little South Bronx. So y'all be careful out there. Tad roving. So with that said, peace and love to the panel. Peace and love to y'all watching. And we see you next week on this bridge. One love. Out.
Brother Devon, your final thoughts and commentary.
Yeah, I know we said we're gonna touch on that next week, so I will definitely wait. But if y'all remember my testimony, I listed a number of things that playing around in the system of race has gotten canceled, and it is not the arena we need to play in. Y'all add this redistricting case to that list. If you understand and look at things through the lens of race-based, understand it's all coming down. And that is a good thing for foundational Black Americans. So I want to start there. Next, I want to go to what we saw going on the continent. And so no one mentioned it when they first spoke. So I'll be the one to mention it. And so we saw them running around, and then like Brother Taz said, they serve it up. We got street justice, they got mob justice, right? And so they was out there yelling Yimbambe, like they was in Black Panther. They was ready. They was out there calling Ghanaians and Nigerians, you diseased rhinoceros pizzle, like they Arsenio Hall. If y'all get it, y'all get it. But what I want to highlight and have the family understand, and I said this, I think, on a TikTok space I was on, what's happening on the continent between the various tribes of Africa is, when we talk about it, what you're doing is you're essentially pointing out the hypocrisy of their hypocrisy. And what I mean by that is this. We already understand the scam of Pan-Africanism and the lie and the religion. We know what it does. We know what it convinced us. We know what it never was. And like I always say here on the bridge, I was a staunch Pan-Africanist until I met actual Africans. Once you do that, you understand that this is something that they do not even acknowledge. They don't know what you're talking about for the most part. But when I'm talking about the hypocrisy of their hypocrisy is this. Now, obviously, on its face, for the reasons that they're saying they're doing it, am I going to sit here and say that they're wrong? Absolutely not. Right? I think delineation is the most powerful thing you can do as a people. And like Brother Tash said, they are following our lead. And we are the kings and queens of the head busters. When we have found it fit that your head needs to be bust. So I'm not even going to try to police their head busting. But here's the hypocrisy of the hypocrisy. As the majority of your country, and you've never laid one finger to bust an Asian head or bust a white Afrikaner's head, I can't hype you up. I can't get down with you. If you was running around South Africa having the rated E for everybody hands that we got, then I could rock with you. I could salute you. I could promote you. I could respect you. But you let Asians come up in there and slap you up with sticks and bare hands. You let the Afrikaners tell you where you can go and where you cannot go in your native land. And then you got the nerve to be socking and busting the heads of Ghanaians and Nigerians because they're in your homeland. I can't get jiggy with that shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. And so that's the hypocrisy of your hypocrisy. I need to see y'all busting some white Afrikaners upside their head. If I'm going to respect you. I need to see you going out there and making some real life, in real time, chop suey out somebody. Then I can respect you. Because now you're getting everybody about the paint. Because see, it's a deflection, and it's a poor man's deflection when you come to us and say, oh, how come you're not looking at the white man? And look at what the Hispanics do to you. And I'm not glorifying violence. But do you know what my ethnic group has done to everybody that thought they was going to encroach on what we fought back the white. Let me tell you something. We understand that there's a long history, the red summer and all that. And they tell y'all all the things that got burnt down. If you don't think we was in here putting belt to ass and putting burns to ass too, then you are highly mistaken. Don't mistake our kindness for weakness. Just because we not busting your head like the Zulus in the house are busting the heads of them Nigerian and Ghanaian tribes, don't think we don't got the capacity to do it. Or the willingness to see it through. It's why white supremacists and ICE agents ain't mistakenly trying to deport foundational Black Americans now. Through all the we look alike nigga, you ain't seen a Black American get deported yet on some mistaken identity. You want to know why that is? Because they know they know our capacities. Do you understand what I'm saying? They know we the final boss if they want to try to do something. And they already know what's waiting. So they practicing on y'all. And in the past, we didn't let them practice on y'all. Because we thought y'all was on our side. Now that we know different and we know better, another Black American proverb, when you know better, you do better. We're not out here busting y'all heads alongside them. We just like, y'all got to hold y'all own now. Because when we was protecting y'all, busting their heads for you, we feeling love taps on the back of our head coming from the direction that we supposed to have allies, and we turn around and it's your musty ass hitting us on the back of the head. Thinking we wouldn't notice because we fighting the real head busters. Those days are dead and gone. So now you got to hold your own. But in order for me to respect y'all on the continent, we need equal opportunity. We need affirmative action head busting. And then white folks need to get the priority. Those Asians need to get the priority. You going in the wrong direction for the head busting. And here's why. This is a part that I said nobody said, so I'll say it. I talked about it one time on this show, and I'm landing here. When I talked about there's a difference between having liars in every culture and having a culture of lying. Here's what you see on the continent right now and why it's happening the way it's happening and why they're not doing nothing to the Afrikaners, not doing nothing to the Chinese people. I heard they shutting down Nigerian and Ghanaian businesses, and some of them rightfully so, because they selling drugs, they doing some wild stuff out of them. But if you're going to sit there and shut down Ghanaian businesses and Nigerian businesses, and you walking right past Afrikaner businesses that you can't even go in anyway if you wanted to, and those Asian businesses where you the workers that they slap up and you better come in tomorrow on time and you can't get no overtime either. Here's why it's happening that way. Because long before apartheid, it was the Zulu versus the Hausa versus any other tribe you could name in South Africa. And unfortunately, they have a culture of tribalism. And that's the hard truth that nobody wants to talk about. Foundational Black Americans just saying, hey, we deserve ethnic autonomy. We're going to put our own political priorities first. And since we can't help you, we're not going to hurt you. That's the highest forms of xenophobia the world has ever seen. You got South African tribes murdering Ghanaian tribes and Nigerian tribes. And that is just a misunderstanding. Unfortunate. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. I've even seen people go as far as to say, I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of it, we're going to find out that the white Afrikaners are putting the South African tribes up to this. And that's what's really causing the strife between these two. And this is the fatal flaw of Pan-Africanism and why I'm so glad we moved away from it. Because they will go out of their way to infantilize and make excuses for the tribalism that has caused more murders and genocides and brutalizations and everything else under the sun that we can count. But foundational Black Americans are held to the highest standard and account if we just say, I don't think we're African. I think we're an amalgamation of all the mixture that is within us. And we honor all our ancestors while saying we were created into a new thing. That's the highest standard that needs to be held to. And we're the worst thing walking this earth for saying that. And so I'll land here by saying this. I know it's not a Foundation Black American movie reference, but shit. You couldn't tell me nothing about this movie and couldn't tell most of us nothing about this movie. We talk about the movie of Scarface. That's just a hood classic, no matter what it was about. So as we leave this place, but not your presence, when you look at Foundation Black Americans and myself as a whole, and when you say goodnight, just make sure you say goodnight to the bad guy. Because we don't mind being the bad guy no more. Because we know exactly who we being the bad guy for. That's for ourselves, for our lineage, our future, and for our ancestors, and can't nobody do a goddamn thing about it. I'll land there.
Man, Brother Devon took my closing. But anyway.
Shots fired!
Sister Brooke, your final thoughts and commentary. You're on mute, sis. You're on mute.
Oh, okay. I took notes, right? So, okay. All right. One, when President Devon was sitting here talking about how, they don't have no smoke for everybody else. I saw a video of the South Africans in a Africana business. And they were begging them, please don't hire the Ghanaians and the whatchamacallit. So not only do they not have any smoke, but they were begging them, please don't hire them. That's number one. Then I saw another video of an Afrikaner sitting there justifying and talking about how the South Africans are not native to the land, that they are immigrants too. I heard no pushback on that. How that the Khoisan aren't even black, that they are kind of yellowish people, and that the Khoisan are the original inhabitants of the land, and that they have no ties to the South Africans of today. Mum's the word. Nobody has nothing to say about that Afrikaner. Then I saw another video of the Ghanaian president talking big shit. He tough talk about how South Africa better protect the Ghanaian citizens. How are you going to demand that South Africa protects the Ghanaian citizens and you don't protect Ghanaian citizens in Ghana? That's why they fleeing, running, jumping, swimming, boating, jogging, biking, triking to get the fuck up out of there. And let me ask a question. When there were Ghanaian citizens in the Ukraine, when the Ukraine war first bust out, has anybody heard from them yet? Because I heard from people who knew people over there. They said they ain't heard mum's the word from them people. They are presumed dead. Where was Ghana to protect them then? Where was the smoke for Ukraine? Where was the smoke for China during COVID? When they was telling your citizens that they couldn't have babies in their hospitals, when they was telling them that they wouldn't rent to them, where was Ghana to protect their citizens then? Looks like you only got tough talk. Pull up your pants, tough talk for other African nations. Is it Ghana that's sending soldiers over to Ukraine right now? Is it Ghana?
Burkina Faso. Go ahead.
It's Burkina Faso. Okay, so I'll leave them alone. When we talk about Burkina Faso, I'll bring that back up. But right now we focused on Ghana. Where were y'all? So you cannot ask another nation to do for your citizens what you won't do for them. Then I'm going to go through some of the other notes that I got here. When we talked earlier about, okay, I'm going to jump around. When we talked earlier about Miss Lady, who is the head of the advertising, who, you know, gets the advertising together for the commission. When I worked in advertising, you have to advertise to where you think your demographic is. And she knows the demographic that they want to come there is not with Doggy Diamonds. She knows that. That's why she's advertising with WLIB, and she's advertising where we don't listen, where the grassroots don't listen no more. Okay, with Jennifer Austin Jones also on the commission. That's why, and where I think Al Sharpton has a show on LIB as well, right? That's why she wants to advertise with what's that Caribbean newspaper? I can't even remember. A bunch of Caribbean news, Caribbean Life, where she wants to advertise with the Amsterdam News, because that's where she knows her demographic is. Old Democrats, beautiful, but old, like Melrose said, but old Democrats that they think, well, because they're upset that the grassroots is coming out, because this was supposed to be a pad my resume situation so I could parlay this into getting some more set-asides and money. Like Derek, what's his name? President Divine, help me.
Derek Hamilton.
Derek Hamilton is doing right now, because he's on some racial justice something or other. I saw him with his, I won't say what I want to say, but I saw him sitting there interviewing Mondami, and he's supposed to be an economist, but he didn't bring up the fact that 500 million compared to 11.2 billion does not add up. But he's an economist, and I ain't been to near economy class. Well, maybe I did have a couple, but not on his level. Okay, so that's what they want. It was supposed to be an easy thing, an easy win for them to just pad their resumes and move on and take this and move on, and then hopefully get a job on the federal level. Okay, but it ain't working out that way. They getting called out. And the same thing with Dr. Cody. She thought she was going to be able to pad her resume and say, yeah, I spoke in front of the Reparations, New York State Reparations Commission. No, you got your ass handed to you at the New York State Reparations Commission, where somebody came to me afterwards and said I was mean to her. They came to me and said, why did I do that to her? I said, why did you do it to her? Why you put her up there? You knew what I was going to do. You knew I was going to tear her apart. You should have never put her in harm's way. But you did, so I did. You know what I come here to do. I didn't come here to make no friends. She ain't my friend. She's an open enemy to foundational Black Americans and our heritage and our birthright. And I deal with her as such. And that is your fault for putting her uneducated, unqualified, stupid ass up there to make a fool of herself. When you could have brought in somebody to talk about the history of Newberg. That's what you should have did, but you didn't. And when I want to go back to Yvette Clarke, is that her name? Is it? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'll be messing up people's names. Yvette Clarke, when we were at the African Burial Ground, when she sat there and she was talking about how, you know what I'm saying, she need more people to redistrict her. That's why I said it cut me off. I got cut off. But the rest of what I was saying is that's why we're going to make sure we get rid of all those extra bodies on the census so you can lose your seat. We're going to make sure that illegals are not allowed to vote in the city, because as we played, Sister Keisha played the video already, that we see that even though there are immigrants in this country who did not believe us when we said that there were illegals voting, we show video proof that it was happening. So now, we are going to make sure that those illegals will not be voting, so you can lose your seat, so you can lose your job. We are going to make sure that they're not counted on the census, so you can lose your job. Okay? Then I want to talk about something that I know for sure. I know somebody personally whose mother was moved here from the Caribbean after she was already sick and ill. And she was able to get Medicaid right away. She's never paid a cent or a penny into the tax system. And she was able to get Medicaid right away. This is what's happening when our parents are being denied for services after paying into the system their entire adult lives. This is what is happening. Okay. Yes, and when you were talking about the asking people where they, I think it was Brother Tad, when he was talking about asking people about where they people from. I saw a video on it was from across the pond, where this white woman was asking either a British Caribbean or a British African, you know, where are you from? You're not native to the land. So they asking you, where are you from? And everybody was up in arms. Oh, she's like, I'm British. No, you're not. And they have a right to ask. Like, I hate when people make me side with people who I don't want to side with. But just because logically it just makes sense. Yes, she's asking you, where are you from? Where are your people from? And I've had to do that a lot in these flappers. Yeah. Okay, where are your people from, though? And that's why I don't even ask where you're from no more. I get straight to the point. Where are your people from? But they get real mad when you ask that question. And I'm going to end here with Mandami. Okay? As much as I want him to get the hell out the office and get the hell out the seat, understand who's next up at bat, Jumaane Williams. Because I saw something talking about how that the Republicans are trying to deport Mandami's parents. I hope they succeed with that. Then I saw something else where they're trying to look into his immigration papers as well, which I'm with it, but just make sure, I want y'all to think about the next step. Make sure you got a plan in place, because don't leave us with Jumaane Williams. And I'll end there.
Whoa, boy. Brother Ted, your final thoughts and commentary. You're muted, bro.
Yeah. What can I say that hasn't been said tonight? Tonight was a dope conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I truly appreciate the whole panel and everybody in the chat that rocked out with us. So hopefully you were inspired by something you heard here tonight. It's y'all turn to go out and inspire others. Yo, y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true. Sister Keisha, I pass the mic on to you.
Sound like you rapping.
Don't forget to check out the OG Wisdom podcast on Sundays and get ready for Tad Talks. Yeah. Get ready for Tad Talks.
Tad Talks, yes.
So, since Brother Divine and Sister Brooke and Brother Tad said it all, we're going to close out with a clip. Y'all enjoy the rest of the week. Be safe and stay dangerous at the same time. If you know, you know.
When my parents came here, they didn't speak English. So I feel like if an American citizen is in competition with them, that means that person has failed in life. That person.
One witness who testified that after he had run the numbers, he found that 40% of the decline in labor participation rates among Black workers over 3 decades was attributable to competition from illegal immigration. Comes to nearly 1 million fewer jobs for Black Americans as a result of the competition from illegal immigrants.
I just feel like if you have to be in competition with immigrants, you're a loser. Me, as somebody that was born and raised in America, I'm not competing with somebody that came from Africa.
And it's not just the employment levels, it's the wage levels also. And I can only give you a few examples, but we had evidence from the Fed in Atlanta, which did a study on this, to show that illegal immigrants depressed wages, the competition from illegal immigrants depressed wages by $960 on average. But in certain sectors, such as the hospitality industry, the depression of wage levels was $1,560. And because Black workers were disproportionately concentrated in those areas, they were disproportionately affected.
When my parents came here, they didn't speak English. So I feel like if an American citizen is in competition with them, that means that person has failed in life. Anyway, when my parents...
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From brother Tad to sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Thursday nights the world will see Black power media on a spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves,